Yeah. Yeah, based. Arcade
Speaking
Naga.
of being based, hello everybody, I'm here.
Based on what?
Hello.
Roboot, nobody in this room should be watching Go/Satsu for a number of reasons outside of it being bad.
That seems like.
Wait, is Go bad?
No.
No.
From what I hear, people have issues with it, but some people do like it.
Rikshi didn't even write it, he's supervising it.
Which. How important is it then? Is it just additional content that doesn't really go anywhere?
As far as I'm concerned, I'm guessing he like being a supervising like authority on a project is effectively the same as being the guy looking over the dude's shoulder and going, "Yeah, put this in there." He's the one talking to the commissioner and going, "No, make the titties bigger." It is imperative that what's her name?
Takano?
Satoko has bigger tits than Rika when they're older.
Oh, I thought that was because of fan art. Is that actually true?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh wow!
Rika never gets the chest
that.
she wanted.
Satoko's roughly the same size as Shion now.
Wow.
Why do you know this?
I don't like it.
I don't like.
That's concerning.
Why do you know this?
How do you
I
know this?
watched Go!
Why?
Did you?
What?
This was before we did Umineko.
Roboot, there's Umineko spoilers in Go.
Yeah,
I didn't
they're...
recognize any.
We have told you this
Stop
multiple
watching.
times.
We
Stop
said there was
watching.
Higurashi spoilers.
Did you
We said
actually
super
finish it? Did you finish it?
No.
Then stop watching it.
Okay.
Roboot, we have mentioned multiple times, there are Umineko spoilers in Go.
Also, during Higurashi, it's like Higurashi remake condensed. So, like, there was Higurashi spoilers in the Higurashi anime.
There's also
Literally the
Sigonia
second
spoilers.
episode.
Yeah.
It's big, the
Yeah, but the
biggest
thing about
Higurashi spoilers.
the Siconia spoilers is that is it really spoilers if we still don't know what the fuck is going on?
That's fair. Like,
I mean,
she just kind
Part of me wonders if I should watch it and ignore the Siconia spoilers.
I mean, it's like... It really it boils down to a character going up to somebody and calling them two names. No, if they call them three names, two of which we don't actually know if they're related to Siconia or not, and one that is explicitly something from Siconia.
Is it
And
like
it's just kind of like it's really weird. I would say you can get by with it and not have like a visceral reaction. But you'll have a more visceral reaction if you have some certain context that you'll only get if you've read through Umineko up to a certain part of the story.
yeah.
So I would say I know people are like, I'm very much someone who's like, you can watch you can read Umineko without having the context of Higurashi because you aren't really like missing anything if you do. Some people are like, oh, but it makes the tea party less interesting because you don't know the context because it was like they're originally just like rap parties and you lose like that surprise. And it's like, but yeah,
It like I think it heavily like depends sometimes.
But I think because of like
had those
I
too?
think because of the we skipped over them all the time though because they weren't they literally weren't important at all to the story.
Yeah.
Also requires you reading Higurashi though, so
Yeah.
like that's a
The
negative.
less I can read of that, the better.
Higurashi's good.
I know. I don't care about it as much.
It's good, but not ass.
Yeah, you hear it from Orange. If he doesn't care about it, it's shit.
When did I ever say that? Why are you calling me these things? You gremlinoid.
Gremlinoid?
What if he was secretly bioroids all along?
Huh?
Bio Rolly.
But yeah, so at the moment, I guess
Oh.
Umineko is missing in action, but she will likely be back.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she had to clean up something.
Hmm.
Like, so maybe some poo poo or something like that. Or maybe just had to take a dog out.
Well, hey, we can just kind of take a little bit to talk about stuff.
Yeah, so I guess the good time now to ask, is there, I guess maybe clear it, but do you think we could probably, put some space in between the uploads on YouTube? Because I'll be real, the week that we kind of took off kind of like fucking makes it a little bit harder to keep up.
Me, that's fine. I gotcha.
We could probably like maybe skip one day and we'll be fine, maybe.
Well, if Khan doesn't show up, I guess we can just default back over to me doing later alligator or something.
I mean, like she's still here. She'll
Yeah.
probably come back eventually.
God,
I cannot wait until this voice comes back, the voice of the women. I'll make it work.
I love your Chihiro voice.
Yeah, for
Thank you.
context for that, Joshi on the Discord has been reading through Danganronpa for the first time, and we've been doing funny little voices to go along with it.
Yeah, and I will make the announcement that I am going to, from chapter 2 onwards, am going to be recording it and putting up on my YouTube account.
Mhm.
I will say it's a less, way less fucking, organized and such as these are, because, I'll be real, hey, if Orange can't make it to a session, and I want to do it that night with the other people, I'll probably still do it. I'll just take over his roles.
Yeah, it's fine.
So, like,
That's
like,
fine.
I could be, you could be Yasuhiro.
And like, and if Khan doesn't make it, we'll be all doing the girl voices and such. So, like,
You
so
got it.
like,
I mean, like, to be fair, I always voice a hero regardless.
but like, it's way more, it's less organized. I'm having, I wouldn't say, how do I describe it? It's like a lot less like, our like Umineko and these readings and such. It's a little bit more fun because it's also like actual has gameplay.
Also,
So,
hey,
like-
if you wanna watch that happen, just come into the Discord. Do it.
Maybe.
I'm sure there's many people who want to see Joshi suffer in real time.
I mean, like, it's not suffering. I
Watch
actually
the
do enjoy playing
despair.
it.
Yeah, it's not suffering. It's despair. It's despair.
I can't wait for Chris McLean to make me despair.
Hey, campers! A body has been discovered. I played like fucking. I played 9 hours of Monster Train yesterday. God. I really like roguelikes, and I love to play them on stream, but I think the problem is I don't say anything, because I'm just thinking about what I'm doing. That'd be one where I have to there need to be people in the fucking background. Should we be concerned if it goes on for longer than like 15 minutes? Because we're reaching the 10-minute mark.
Hold on. I'm gonna ping her and see what happens. Damn, did something bad come up?
Or maybe her mic's not working.
I feel like she would have typed.
Yeah, she would type this by then.
And
she'd
left.
be saying something if that was an issue.
Let me see. She's not even in the Twitch thing.
Oh dear.
I mean, she left before we actually started up the stream.
I'm
So.
gonna take this opportunity to reboot my computer. 1 second.
Watch her come back, then nanosecond the computer reboots.
I also feel like if it was like a disconnector, like power outage, it would have like disconnected her by now.
Instead, we'll be streaming for hit Rose Gun Days.
Oh man.
Rose Gun Days will come eventually. We gotta do
As I say, there's mostly men in that cast. I feel like we could get away with that as an emergency in case Khan isn't here stream.
Yeah, Noir.
Damn.
Wait, what happened with Nor?
He's posting about his time when he dropped things on his. You dropped a lawnmower on your face at Home Depot?
It makes sense.
Where is he typing this?
In the
in the
Twitch,
Twitch
chat.
chat. Holy shit.
I'm posting
Oh.
it's happening
Wait.
amount. Speaking of which, I got the stickers to work for me now.
Yes, that's right. Remember, post hashtag femdom in the chat, and Beatrice will appear in your room at 3 a.m. and call you a bitch.
Why would she call me a bitch?
Why do you think?
What the fuck is going on in this sticker? Oh, it's an elite hugging.
She's gonna let you know how much of a bitch you are.
Yeah.
That does not need to be taken.
Holy shit, Shelly!
Oh,
Did you think you were in the clown?
what the
Are
fuck
the
was
horny
that?
shit?
Huh?
I did not
What?
expect you to post right away. I expected it to be like emojis where you click on them, and then you get to see what they actually are before you hit enter and they post.
Alright, hold on. I have.
Something by any chance?
Oh, there
God,
she
you missed-
is. Thank
there she
God.
is.
Okay.
You missed Shelly doing a whoopsie.
Woo!
What happened?
Don't worry, he posted a sticker that he did not think would actually post.
What
Oh,
was
boy.
the sticker?
I'll explain that, not on stream.
I'll post it again if you want.
Post if it's not safe for work, you can post it in clowns. I literally.
Too late. I'm already locking them down. It's locked.
All right, lock it.
Fair enough.
Fair
If you
enough.
want me, I'll send it to you.
I promised my mom I'd turn my sister's bedroom light off really quickly. One second.
No problem. Surely that won't
Serious
take too
though,
long.
whatever oopsie he did, you guys need to tell me.
I sent
you
it
know
to
what?
you.
I'm going to post an NSFW in general, Mr. Freeman. Oh no, not the dog.
Wait, she's gonna make BRB, and we're just gonna have the dog take over her roles. It's like no, it shows like an Umineko character. He's like,
AC,
Jessica, how long?
AC, I'm gonna shank you. I saw what you posted in the chat.
What? What did I post?
I can't wait till you guys get to Candice Ishiramiya.
Stop posting spoilers.
Oh,
He said
that wasn't me.
Candice Ishiramiya,
Come on,
you dingus.
I know.
AC,
I know that's a
AC,
spoiler.
you said something funny to me yesterday. You can do it again. I believe in you.
I have something stored, and I'm working on it.
One thing
I'm
you
just
You know
waiting
what's
for the
funny
one thing
is
you have
that
stored
Ace,
is the piss in your balls.
is that AC has the ability to see Goatsy if he tries hard enough and fool himself enough.
What?
Fucking, did you not see our back and forth in memes about him being like, oh, this thing from
the
Link to the
LaRouche
Past looks
like
Goatsy.
assisted me.
But that doesn't look like Goatsy! It looks like two hands over a crystal ball!
Alright, enough of this. I'm going to load up Umineko now while Khan is
It's
doing
orange.
that
What do you
thing.
think of that image?
What image
Fucking-
am I looking at? What are you talking about?
Shit. Pain.
I don't.
I
care
had my
about this.
finger over the volume button and I accidentally turned it all the way off and I was scared my volume messed up.
When did stickers become a thing?
I don't
Just
know.
recently.
Who cares?
Like last week.
Who just left?
Which is left.
Reboot.
Oh, he said he needed to reboot his computer, but
Free real estate.
Maybe he needed to reboot his computer.
Also,
Did it?
Khan,
It's
I
not
assume
funny.
you saw the sticker, so I can
She's,
delete that,
she's-
right?
she
she just
said
got-
meh to it.
Oh god, I typed Higurashi and like
Good,
a tier
'cause
maker
I don't
and
want
I
her to
saw
see
a
that every
huge
single
Danganronpa
time.
2 spoiler.
Okay,
Alright, Alchemist.
No, Fuzzbutt.
you gotta record. You gotta.
Let me just.
stream
Yeah,
that to-
I literally just started up the game, Joshua.
I know. I have the gun to your head. You have to start it fucking now.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'm pretty sure this is the British version of that scene, so I have the other one pulled up on YouTube.
British?
Are we even gonna get to that scene today?
Maybe, I don't know. Fuck.
Isn't that like that's a hot minute, I think.
Yeah,
we
right.
probably won't get to it today.
Yeah, probably not. Oh, fuck,
Umineko
start the
confirmed,
opening, yeah.
boys. We eating food.
Don't let it do that opening though.
Yeah. So Con, let us know when you're ready to go because I can tell you right now, you're gonna be the first line of dialogue in the episode.
I'll take your word for it and give me like 2 seconds.
Also, you are very quiet. Let me boost your volume really quick.
Wait, is it just like Khan is like 50 miles away from her mic?
Neom.
Oh, I hear it fine.
I'm fine.
You have it turned down?
Can
As you
everybody
can-
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, no.
Alright,
we can hear
But I guess if everyone else can hear you, it's fine.
Alright.
Episode 2.
What I will say is also, hey, sorry for the fact that we've been gone for a week. This is probably gonna end up staggering our YouTube releases.
It is a some stuff happened and we couldn't unfortunately
And I just
meet.
like
That is all right.
I just wasn't feeling it for a little while, but now I'm getting back into it.
It wasn't a matter of that. It was a matter of my mom had to go to the hospital for an important surgery.
I
No,
know.
that's-
We're doing this for the sake of I guess you. I don't know. We wanna
Privacy.
We don't
we
even
didn't
share a lot
wanna
of
say
personal
anything
information
without-
on the internet. You know
yeah.
what people are gonna do with that.
That's fair.
Alrighty then. So if we're all
Time
set
to
to go,
Yoink this.
time for episode 2. Turn of the Golden
Listen,
Witch.
I don't know why Khan's voice is quieter than it usually is for me, but whatever.
You can just
It's on
boost
my
her.
end. I'll
Sounds
figure
fine.
it out.
Good
You
morning.
can just be your headphones.
Turn her up.
Ooh. The Golden Witch has been waiting impatiently for you. Please take your seat opposite her at the table. Have you rested well and deliberated over how you will play? The witch has high expectations of you, and is determined to come at you right from the opening. I, too, am looking forward to observing your moves. The difficulty level is first rate. The witch plans to make you surrender in an instant.
Come at us, bitch!
Damn. Come.
Notoriously, this is the hardest episode of Umineko.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, the difficulty levels are legit. These are mysteries you can solve.
I can't believe Umineko Rikishi wanted us to hit that fucking 100 hit
Story is
combo.
undoubtedly nothing more than fantasy. It could not possibly have any relation to real persons, organizations, places, or events. Anything is completely coincidental.
Nothing is true, everything
All
is permitted.
celebrity voices are.
Oh, dang, right off the bat!
Like I said.
George-sama, please look! They're so cute! Look!
Shannon found a pair of hammerhead sharks swimming playfully in the tank.
Oh my god, I love her outfit.
Looked as excitedly as a grade schooler seeing an aquarium for the first time. Also, Joshy, can you get me George's
I
original
got
Sprite?
the. Okay, I also.
Cowardice!
Look at,
Fuck this piece of shit! Here's what it should be!
but I love his Yakuza reject outfit.
His Yakuza reject outfit.
Oh
It's
my-
I love how
Tomitake Flash!
Tomitake Flash!
Oh my god, look at that cuteness! She looks like she's from the 1940s. I wanna hug her.
Look, I'm
Shannon
just.
does look
Look
cute
at
in that
him.
outfit.
Tomitake Flash.
What do you mean by that? I don't know what that means.
If you look at
Tomitake,
stream
the
really-
guy.
if you look at the
Tomitake
comparison
just
that he
has
made.
a straight up man chest.
As you can see, George is wearing a shirt that says Tomitake Flash on it in reference
Oh,
to,
I didn't notice
to
that.
Jiro Tomitake from Higurashi.
and it's in the Final Fantasy font too.
It's in such
Oh
like
my
a
God, you're
condensed
right.
font, I can barely read it.
I like how the fucking.
It really does say Tomitake
I like
Flash.
how the goddamn Steam release version, the Pachinko Sprite, just has Tomitake in it. They didn't even want to keep in the Flash.
You know what I love about the original, besides it being great, is that this makes George look like he has massive dad bod going on.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Alright.
given how big his dad
I was
is.
gonna say yeah, his dad.
George 2020.
Alright. Yeah, they really are cute. Almost makes me want to eat them.
I'd feel sorry for them. Did you know? I hear the Japanese are the only people in the world who go to aquariums and say how delicious everything looks.
Is that so? I'm sure even Americans and Italians would want to eat these. Those clothes look good on you. Really?
Shannon clutched her at her chest with both hands in embarrassment. She apparently felt like she was being made fun of for wearing these clothes she wasn't used to. Though George's face didn't show, he'd actually said something so completely unexpected that it surprised even him. And he was embarrassed at Shannon on the inside. As Shannon, not at Shannon. However, when
I'm embarrassed at you!
However, when he saw how embarrassed Shannon was, he started to imagine that he was teasing a girl he liked. Instead of embarrassment, a ticklish amusement welled up inside of him. No, he wasn't just imagining it. He really was teasing the girl he liked. Before now, he wouldn't have expected to hear a line like that anywhere these days, not even in a manga or something. In fact, if he'd seen another couple acting like this, his first instinct would have been to start throwing rocks at them. But even if someone were to start throwing rocks at us now... Oh, that's you.
But even if someone
No,
were
and
to-
it's AC.
But even if someone were to start throwing rocks at us now, I'm sure there'd be no different than confetti celebrating our relationship. Now, I can't even remember those lonely days. When I felt jealous of couples who were completely oblivious to their surroundings. To use an old-fashioned phrase, these really are rose-colored days I'm living in. I'm so entranced that I barely notice that massive tank in the world's largest aquarium anymore. Instead, all I see are the expressions how do you say that? Flitting across Shannon's face as she plays with the fish.
He's riding the hammerhead shark. Look at that perspective.
Oh, it's the angle. I can post it.
Post the image.
Post the image of the angle.
What is this? This is a weird angle. Wait,
Look at Live General.
Put that up on stream. That's great.
Someone please give me the source of the original creator.
Yeah. Someone give us a source and we'll link it to their Twitter.
Can you shrink that a bit?
If you look at one of the shadows, you can see the
Oh
name.
yeah, fucking.
They're currently zooming in the air now. Alright.
Though it might have spoilers, so those who are not in the know, don't look.
Don't look.
Alright.
Well,
Because
here,
I think they did others.
For the sake of continuation, just post the handle of the Twitter user in the on the video when you do it, Joshy.
Say Tumblr.
We'll say the name at the end of the video. Oh, the Tumblr? Okay, yeah, we'll say the name after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moving on. It's amazing, isn't it? It's my first time seeing a tank large enough for a whale to swim in.
I heard this tank is the biggest selling point here. And that's the biggest tank in the whole world.
Is that so? That's amazing. It's really wonderful. It doesn't even look like a tank at all. More like they sliced off a part of the sea with a knife and brought it here.
You're right. This really is the little sea.
Despite its size. Oh, that's you. George.
Oh, I thought it was despite its size, I hadn't thought of the tank as anything more than a tank. That's why I found her metaphor so interesting. No matter how far humans broaden their experiences, they always end up viewing the world through the lens of their own values. Maybe that's why it's so interesting to interact with people who have different worldviews. I voiced my thoughts on this. She responded.
True, this may not be the real sea. But if those little guys swimming in there believe it's the sea, then that's what it is.
Even though they're inside a finite tank?
The sea is finite too. Then again, even if the sea were infinite, how much could we cover in our whole lives? I'm sure it'd be only a minuscule fraction of the sea.
You're right. It's ironic, isn't it? Even though the world is so vast, most of us humans live our lives without ever leaving our own country.
If the inhabitants of a place believe they're living in a complete world, then even the bottom of a narrow well can be a wonderful world, an entire ocean. At least to the frogs that live there.
Shannon, who spent her days as a servant on a small island 10 kilometers in circumference called Orkenjima, said that with a smile. Turn of the Golden Witch. AC is loud. I will make AC less loud.
Yeah, just by a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Battler.
I can't believe it's already Shark Week.
These cookies are great.
Wait, what? Cookies? You're eating cookies?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. What kind?
Pillsbury.
Oh, nice.
Oh, so I'm trying to find the artist and I can't fucking find them.
I can't
Did you-
find them. There's only soup.
Did you reverse Google search image at?
I'm just looking up the artist's name, but I can't fucking. I guess I
Try
could.
setting it to Wumbo.
What do you mean you can't find it?
Oh no, not the boat! Not the boat!
Hey, look, there's Canon and Genji right there. There's me.
Yeah, there's both of your characters. There's your whole world. Beatrice!
Can I be honest? The only reason I grew to spelling
But
Beatrice's
yeah, do
name
I have
right,
a new character this time, or is it the same thing?
I don't know.
Huh.
The only reason
That's
why
good
I
question.
knew how to I learned how to spell Beatrice super correct is because I looked at Beatrice and I went, oh, you spell it like beet and rice.
And I remember.
That reminds me of that
Go
fucking
ahead.
meme I saw where it was like, where Kenan says B rice and it's him in like a big box of rice.
I know that's my favorite one. Well, everything with Canon is my favorite.
Da, da, da. This is AC talking, I believe.
Alright. After we finished walking through the whole aquarium, we had a small late afternoon lunch at the restaurant with a nice view. The word buffet has the power to make any boy's heart leap. I was like that myself once. But with Shannon beside me, this buffet felt different. I couldn't shamefully pile on only things that I liked. I was, how should I put this, worried about my appearance and chose a menu suited for a snob. Toast, salad, and coffee. If I'd been by myself, I would have made a pile of oily stuff like yakisoba, mashed potatoes, gratin, and so on.
Yakisoba pon.
Shannon, is that going to be enough for you? If it is, then I guess we men are animals with really bad fuel efficiency.
That's not what I meant.
On Shannon's tray, there's only tea and salad. Wait, maybe the mere fact that I thought she was a whole plate short proved that I was thinking with a man's stomach.
Actually, I should be asking you the same thing.
Okay, my dad was just asking me about something. Go ahead.
No, you already said the line.
Okay, sure.
Don't you think men should eat a little bit more than that? I imagine you normally eating much more for lunch, right?
Oh, right, dang. Come to think of it, you already know how much I eat normally because of the meals I've had at the head family household. Whoops.
That's right. So I was worried you might have an upset stomach today.
Shannon was kind enough to guess that I wasn't feeling well. Looks like my stupid attempt to show off made her worry. And apparently my stomach wasn't going to let me show off any longer. Okay, I'll confess. I was just trying to look cool. I held back just because I was with a girl.
I thought so. Considering how much you eat during lunch at the family conferences, I thought this wasn't nearly enough. Please, don't be so reserved and feel free to go choose another dish.
It's not fair for only me to be embarrassed. What about you, Shannon? How you'll be able to keep up with the Ashiramiya family workload on such a sparse diet?
Shannon fell silent and blushed bright red. Oh, fuck.
No, it's alright, I understand. Apparently I wasn't the only one showing off. When I realized that my embarrassment disappeared completely. Oh, so that's not enough for you either, is it? Yeah, you usually eat a bit more than this for lunch.
A woman's stomach is made of magic, so this is enough. Oh.
I feel like this is a callback to
Stomach is
something.
made of magic.
Oh no.
So, we've both been showing off to each other. Let's not hold back anymore, shall we? I smiled to show off that I wouldn't. I smiled to show that I wouldn't make fun of her anymore, and rose from my seat. After finally coming to Okinawa, it'd be a waste if we didn't eat some bitter melon. I'll go get some fried bitter melon or something. Shannon, come with me. Come on, come on.
Yes. Oh my eye.
To anyone watching us, we might seem like an incredibly charming and embarrassing couple. But it's only after becoming a couple that you realize. To us, this exchange of words is everything. Our entire world. That's why no matter how much everyone else stares at us with blank expressions, we never notice. Indeed, at this age, I finally understand the feelings of couples who want to endlessly flirt without any regard for their surroundings. After I returned with a plate piled up with fried food, Shannon arrived with a pretty cake. While laughing at our fake stoicism, we resumed our lunch. Even though it's a restaurant with a view of the sea, it's so cloudy. Luckily, our window seats gave us a view of the seaside scenery, so grandiose that it extended even beyond our field of vision. However, because of the cloudy sky, we were only seeing a fraction of its usual beauty.
That's right. If it were clear, we'd undoubtedly see a deep blue sea.
Yep. I'll bet you're already used to the sea around Rakunjima, but the deep blue of the sea here would surely have been a sight to see. It's a real shame.
Oh, but no matter how the sea blue the sea is at work, it might as well be gray to me. But I'm not working today, so,
Apparently, Shannon was doing her best to say an embarrassing line. But I didn't let her get off easy. So close. If only you had said, when watching the sea alone with you, George-sama, it looks deep blue no matter how gray it is. I'd given you full marks and a prize.
I'm sorry.
Wanna hear what the prize was?
If you don't mind telling me.
No. I won't tell you.
God, this scene always fucks me up.
That's no fair.
When I was in elementary school, I was always the kid that got bullied. When everyone teased me, I grew nervous and speechless, to the delight of the bullies. Back then, I wondered why everyone teased me. But now, teasing Shannon like this, I understand why.
I'm bullying. I want to bully my girlfriend.
Want to bully my girlfriend?
Jesus
Fuck, shove her in a
Christ,
locker.
George.
Get on with it.
This is so much fun. I can play with their emotions however I please.
Oh, that's bad.
I
don't like that.
Oh my fucking god.
And I can have them all to myself.
Notable negger, George.
Wait, what did you just say?
Negger. Neg. To neg women. N-E-G.
Say the word. Oh.
Neg.
Um.
It means to harass women into liking you.
Okay, there is an E, Twitch. There is an E. Well, anyway.
Okay.
Right now, I can't think of any greater pleasure than dropping the hard R live on
I
stream.
wasn't even trying to do like a joke.
Avoid certain words. Just
It's time to stop.
Look, there's a scene that's gonna come up in a while, where I'm gonna have to be very, very careful with how I talk. So you should
Make
be
sure-
too.
Here's what you do: you zoom in on the word, and you make it evidently clear that's the word you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
N is banned, F is banned, fuck is okay, fuck all you want. By now, I can. I was gonna say, do you want to take a minute to decompress, or should I get
I
right
think-
back
It's,
to it?
it's a known word.
Just barrel on through.
So the issue is that man, your mic quality does not support you saying those things.
Oh, yeah, wait, maybe I should move it closer.
Oh, my eyes!
Oh, I
Okay,
didn't
let's
know we were playing
alright,
Call of
you know,
Duty.
we have to stop.
What if I just say it louder?
Yeah. Anyways,
I mean, whenever
Alright,
I'm far from this
doesn't
mic,
worry
I'm
about it.
not
Say the
being
line,
the
AC.
visual novel.
Say the line,
Okay,
AC.
Right now, I
You already
can't think
did.
of any greater pleasure.
That's just a red flag in of itself, bruh.
That's why I always have to go easy on her.
Not even better.
It's not as though I want to make her feel embarrassed and upset,
You just said you would like to see that.
so I decided to be nice and change the subject. Best not to be too obstinate. When you finish your lunch, do you want to take a walk on the beach? Maybe the clouds will clear up and we'll get a beautiful view of the sea.
That's right. I want to go see it.
Yeah, let's do it. But that cake really does look delicious. Maybe I'll maybe I'll go get one of those too.
You mustn't. If you eat cake after eating so much, you'll get fat. It looks like Hideyoshi-sama's blood is pretty thick in you, George-sama, so you'll get chubby if you don't take care.
Oh, Shannon, you won't stop liking me if I get fat, will you? After all, I wouldn't stop liking you if you got fat.
I didn't mean it that way. If you don't take good care of your body, it will be bad for your health. Oh.
Mother warns me all the time too. I wonder if I'll have to take up the Tai Chi Quan or something that she does and get some exercise.
When going on a diet, it's better to start by rethinking your eating habits rather than just exercising all the time. Apparently, the exercise only helps if you're eating well first.
In other words, you're telling me to hold off on the cake, huh?
Yes,
Then, I'll guess I'll just have to gaze at you while you stuff your cheeks with this shit. Oh, that shit. I'm sure he didn't mean it that way.
I'm sure George wants to stuff her cheeks, if you know what I mean.
I'm gonna zoom in on George's face when we're cutting in like this.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Anyway, keep going.
moving on. A whole cake is probably too much. But maybe just half of one would be okay. Here, it's really delicious.
Shannon cut her own cake and tried to move half to my dessert plate. I had no doubt that she wanted me to share the delicious cake's flavor with me. However, I meanly pulled my plate away from her. She blinked in surprise. She couldn't seem to figure out if I was refusing the cake or not. So I winked, opened my mouth, and said,
So that's what you really wanted. Jeez, you're such a pampered child, George-sama.
Oh, okay.
Why?
he's not battling. Why are you doing this?
Why is Shannon flash stepping towards him?
Why is it zooming in on her tits?
Why do you think?
Why is that the one thing you focus on?
Because that's what the camera's focusing on.
Half her face is cut off!
AC, go!
Oh,
It's
with
borderline.
a partly embarrassed and partly exasperated face, Shannon offered the cake to me with a fork. Chomp.
He then bit off Shannon's hand.
It tasted like a cheap chocolate cake you might find anywhere. And yet, it was exceptional.
Oh, my eye!
Because eating cake in such an embarrassing way, as if we were a couple of perfect fools, had been my dream for many years. It made this cake's flavor heavenly. If the earth is destined to end, I wouldn't have any regrets if it happened right now. It was such a moment of bliss.
Why does this look so Why does this look so depressing in this version of the fucking game?
Wait, what's it look like in other
It
versions?
looks way like too cloudy in this.
Yeah. Fucking fine enough. Goddamn.
Is it not supposed to?
Yeah, like even the opening had like really non-cloudy versions. I don't know.
After that, we gathered shells, ran from waves, and enjoyed each other's company while taking a walk along the beach. In the end, the clouds never parted.
Oh, that's why. Oh, that's why.
However, we both believed that the sea reflected in our eyes was a deep blue.
Somehow, I'm so happy that it scares me.
You do say that from time to time. What is it you're afraid of?
I'm a servant of the Yoshiromiya family. For someone like me to be walking like this with a member of the family, it just felt like it was too much for me.
I'm also surprised. I didn't just meet you yesterday or today, Shannon-chan. We've known each other for years now. However, we can only meet during those family meetings that only happen a few times a year. Back then, I couldn't even imagine having the sort of relationship where I could spend time with you like this. It was the same for you too, right?
I did imagine. No, I mean, maybe I should call it a kind of daydream. I did think about what it'd be like being in a relationship with you. A boy who was always so gentlemanly and considerate. That was only ever a fantastic daydream.
Then we must have your believing heart to thank for our relationship. Magic dwells in the power of love. So I'm sure that magic brought us together.
You're right. I really do think it was magic.
But, you know, that's not actually true. As you kept looking more and more beautiful every year, you became larger and larger presence on my mind too.
And maybe somewhere else. Hi-oh!
If the same thing happened to you...
Damn it, that was gold.
Yeah, but I think the hi-oh, I think that burned your momentum a little.
I was reading, I would have loved to have been like, it was like, my name is George, not Battler.
Damn it.
Battler.
Gatler.
Borge.
Wait, how does the heyo destroy it, Bone? What the fuck?
Oh, I think it hits the comedic timing. I think she almost had it there. I don't know, personal taste.
Then
Yeah,
the fact then the fact that we're here today is simply an inevitable consequence, rather than something caused by magic or a miracle.
No. A miracle did happen. Joy-sama.
She stopped walking down the beach, gazing out beyond the sea. A miracle?
No. It was magic. It happened.
I was bewildered by that slightly mysterious phrase, which I sometimes heard her use. Magic, you say?
Yes. Magic. I doubt you'd believe me if I explained it, so I won't. But this bit of magic definitely had the power to grant the miracle that brought us together.
Are you talking about some kind of ritual?
Yeah. You might call it something like that. Except that it really was magic, not just some ritual.
Hmm? Maybe it's all girls, not just Shannon, who tend to treat encounters as miracles or coincidences.
But it does.
But for a man like me, an encounter with a girl is 70% hard work to try and make her like you, and 20% courage. Wait, and try and make her like you. 30% courage. And 10% coincidence.
15% concentrated power of will.
I don't get it.
Song. The part that means everything to her is a much smaller factor in my mind. Maybe that way of thinking itself is calculating and typical of men. But if I had said that out loud, it might dissolve all kinds of magic. To my mind, there are lots of coincidences, compromises, and expended effort on both sides before we gained the relationship we have today.
Oh, wow, I am dumb.
At the culmination of all that, we get to spend this joyful time together. She wants to call that magic. I've got no objections to her choice of words. So I'll stand up for that magic. You're right. If the same fate were repeated 100 times, maybe you and I could get into a relationship like this only one of those times. In other instances, even though we'd be aware of each other, maybe we would have only maintained a reversed relationship after all this time. Oh, reserved. My bad. From the perspective of those other me's and you's, you and I are undoubtedly in a miraculous relationship right now.
That's not what I meant. It really was magic. No matter how often you tell men something like this, they'll never believe it. Hanun-kun didn't believe me at all either.
I believe you. I'd hate for the magic to fade away because I didn't believe in it.
Toji-sama.
In a small voice, I apologize for saying something that trivialized her magic. Trivialized. Shannon seemed to be glad to hear me say that. After all, if two people believe in the magic of love, it becomes eternal. Oh, that's right. I was wondering if you'd be willing to agree to a little whim of mine.
Yes? What is it?
You call me George-sama, right? It's not that I dislike it, but but would you consider not calling me that anymore? Of course, you'd have to keep up your appearance with the Ashiramiya family, so I wouldn't force you to do so during your everyday routine on Rakenjima. But when we're all alone, I'd rather you didn't call me that. Yeah, let's make that a rule.
A rule? What would happen if I violated that rule?
Maybe we should have some kind of punishment game if you break the rule. Yes, what should it be? Wanna hear?
No, I don't want to hear.
I'll have to think about it, what it should be.
Okay. George. Sam.
Yeah. I love the way that sounds. I'm so happy, Shannon.
I also have another name. It's Sayo.
I see. The rules gotta be fair after all. I'll follow it too, and from now on, I'll call you Sayo. Okay? Sayo?
Yes.
I held her shoulder and drew her close. When I forcefully pulled her delicate body towards me, she dove into my chest like a doll. As I held her head in my arms, we both looked at the horizon. What a deep blue sea. I'm so happy we got to look at this sea. Just the two of us.
Me too. I'm so glad to have a chance to look deep blue sea with you.
As we gazed at the gray sea, a light rain began to sprinkle down. We kept listening to each other's heartbeats.
See, that was actually kind of sweet.
Kinda.
It was very sweet between the 16-year-old and 23-year-old.
Don't ruin this for them!
Oh, it's so funny though.
God damn it, man!
This is Shannon talking.
The sound of waves flows into my ears. No, it's the sound of an enraged sea. My body, bathed in painfully cold splashes, does not allow me to forget. It won't let me forget the memories of the day my old fate was broken and smashed. Once, tomorrows were literally like looking into a mirror. All I ever saw there was the person I already was. Tomorrow was absolutely no different from today. That was my old fate. But then, for the first time, I saw a different face beyond the mirror. The witch whispers to me. She tempts me to take a bite out of the fruit of knowledge. She torments me, saying I'll be furniture as long as I stay in God's paradise. So I decided to choose the path of knowing love and try to become a person. Those days were sweet, like honey. But at the time, I didn't realize that they'd be the start of a new kind of suffering. I've arrived at a small island on a motorboat I've only just learned how to use. No, this can hardly be called a small island. It's little more than a rock jutting out of the water. On this rock is a torii and a small shrine. It was probably built to worship the guardian deity of Rokkenjima. Even though I don't know exactly what it signifies, I know it has to be something holy. Even in a place like this, I've got to take just one more look around to see if there's anyone who might get mad at me for coming. I see nothing but the stormy ocean, Nijima looming in the distance, and the waves breaking against Rokkenjima's steep cliffside. I ready myself, timidly approach the small shrine, and take the mirror that lies there as an offering. The mirror looks old, cloudy, and dirty. And that would probably make any normal mirror seem horribly cheap. However, since the mirror has been placed in a small shrine, its appearance seems to have given some sort of divine quality to it. And there's one thing I can tell. This is no simple mirror. It may seem like an old, battered mirror to a non-believer like myself, but it has great significance. Is it really okay to break this after being captivated by honeyed words? No, this isn't really a mirror. This is the life I couldn't escape until today. My fate. I'll break it. I'll smash it, and seize the life that lies beyond this mirror. If I don't smash it, my life will be a pair of facing mirrors forever. Nothing will ever change in the slightest. The witch whispers to me. She tempts me to take a bite of the fruit of knowledge. Or maybe I've already tasted that fruit. Sorry, I'm taking notes.
Oh, no problem. If I could have a suggestion, maybe just talk a little bit louder?
Oh, sorry. Is this fine enough?
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. After all, I've already experienced those maddening emotions. Just as Adam and Eve felt compelled to pluck their fig leaves. I can no longer go on without breaking this mirror. I've struggled with conflicting emotions for many days before this moment. Inside my heart, virtuous part of me kept on fighting the part that sides with the witch. And now, here I am. Did the part of me that's here right now win or lose. There's only one thing I know. To obtain something, you must be ready to lose something. Cowards who don't risk anything, who never try to change anything, will never be given the key that opens the path to a new future. That key is already in my hands. And that key is to break this. To smash it. Is there any other effort I can make? There's furniture imprisoned in Rokenjima. No. This is the only way for me. Come. Have courage. I'll free myself from being mere furniture. And by accepting a new kind of suffering, I'll become human. This is surely a small, yet large trial I must impose on myself. Now, break it. I'll smash to pieces the eternally unchanging fate that imprisons me. I raise the mirror high. I think back on the days of conflict that came before, and finish my reflections in the blink of an eye. I throw it down. The thunder roars, crying out against me for my outrageous act. It truly is the hatred of angels trying to banish me from eternal paradise. I look down at the mirror tumbling at my feet, broken in 2 equal parts. And after making sure I've accomplished my task, I scream up at the raging skies. I've kept my promise. Now, it's yours to keep. It's your turn to keep yours, right? Thunder roars once more. I've already been banished from paradise, so I'll have to struggle on my own if I want to live.
Oh yeah. Are you taking notes?
Yes, I am. Sorry.
No problem.
No problem.
The witch told me. That is the single element of this world. To lose it means losing the world. Like how a canteen with a hole in the bottom can't be filled, no matter how much water you pump into it. I've kept my promise. Now, it's your turn to keep yours. Please, grant my wish. Beatrice-sama!
Yo!
So fun fact, that's Shannon's super move in the fighting game.
What is?
Her throwing down the mirror. Yeah, so she throws down the mirror, lightning comes out and she says, "Akanemaste, Beatrice-sama!"
Oh yeah, am I not supposed to watch this? Or is it okay?
Oh no, it's
No,
fine.
this one's fine.
Yeah, like...
I want to also note, in like her super art that goes in the background when she's doing it, her tits fucking bounce. Like, fuck! It's not even like...
Wait a second, isn't this the same?
I don't even bring that up as horny. It's fucking like, Jesus, someone on the team went, I'm gonna make Shannon's tits bounce.
Just jiggle
that person is incredibly based.
Also, to clarify, Reboot, the opening is the same for the first 3 episodes, and then it changes in the 4th one. It's still the same song, but it's an updated version of the same song.
An updated version, and that one has spoilers.
Oh, look at these characters that are no longer dead.
Let's do the time warp again.
By the way, Shelly, can you imagine why we said don't look up Shannon death?
Now, because I'm a little concerned about that now.
Wait, what?
What?
And Bone said that I sounded a bit quiet, and then Robo.
No, you sound fine on stream. It's fine.
Oh, you sounded fine on stream.
I want
to
to
sound really quiet to us. I don't know why.
I want to point this out real quick. In that opening, you see Beatrice right behind Maria.
Yeah.
Like, you were a tiny bit quiet on stream, but it wasn't really anything to really worry about. It was more specifically, like, AC was louder than you.
Yeah, like...
Well, no offense, AC, but you do always sound like you're really close to your microphone.
I forget who's talking in this scene. Is it Shannon?
I think it's Shannon. It's Shannon.
Did you say my name? What's up?
No.
It said Shelly. I mean, it said Shannon.
He said Shannon, not Shelly.
What the fuck?
Question, does this sound...
Shannon.
Does this sound any
Shannon.
better?
It's Shannon.
Shallanon.
My mind wandered. Back to the days when I could barely imagine the happiness I have now. I was a middle schooler at the time. A normal girl who thought about love as much as you'd expect of someone that age. But in truth, it was wrong of me to have that dream. After all, I am furniture. Furniture is nothing more than a tool, not a human. As a person less than human, simply receiving an education was an enormous blessing. So in reality, even thinking about falling in love was more than I deserved. The Ushiramiya family conference was a customary event held every October. But relatives sometimes visited at other times. Of course, they didn't come just to drink tea. On this day, Ava's family was visiting the head family on Rokenjima. The 3 members of Krause's family and the 3 members of Ava's family had gathered in the parlor. And we're having a friendly chat about recent events. Genji had supposedly told Kitsu of Ava's family's arrival, but he still hadn't come down. He was probably immersed in his research and couldn't spare the time. This often happened, so the others waited patiently for their fickle father to arrive.
Oh. How promising. Make sure you work hard under your father, building the skills you'll need if you want to lend him a hand soon.
Thank you very much. I've learned countless precious things from many experienced people Father has introduced me to. And these are all things I could have never learned in school.
When you're in school, it's not math and language you're learning. What they're really teaching you is the right outlook and attitude for learning more. Once you've got the base, you can finally start a long period of study that'll last your entire life. But people who don't get this end up spending their whole lives as fools who never learn. Just getting full marks in math and language won't do you any good at your company.
Indeed, that's exactly right. Hideyoshi-san, your style of education never fails to impress.
Holy hell, how did somebody like him get caught by Ava?
I mean, you saw their probable sex scene.
Yeah.
Or pre-sex scene. They love each other.
So you're saying you're saying she literally snatched him.
I'm saying that they work well together. They seem to love each other.
Yeah.
They're snatch.
Double entendre, boys. Snatch.
Oh, God damn it. Okay, anyways.
Look, I'm sure the mustache feels great.
Jesus fucking Christ, Bone.
It's time to read the.
Hey,
it's
is
time to
George
read-
not quite a full man yet?
Oh wait, I just realized it's still me.
George isn't quite a full man yet. He'd better always keep that in mind and embrace his studies.
Oh, stop it, dear. George is always giving it his all. Right. Truly admirable. I wish our Jessica would learn from him.
Sheesh. Are you still holding a grudge about that test score? I'm studying for tests the best I can. It's not my fault that all the numbers dance. At least don't say it here. Pissing me off.
Oh, this is probably Shannon talking, so.
Once people started praising George for his diligence, the conversation usually turned to Jessica, who hated studying. Jessica made an openly displeased face, as though she'd known this would happen.
My. Schoolwork aside, it seems Jessica had better learn to choose her words a little more gracefully. How improper for the single daughter who bears the weight of the Ushirimiya family crest.
She's your daughter. Oh, come now. She's quite appealing in her own way, isn't she? Times change. The time when we had to all act modest to entertain men ended long ago.
That's right, that's right. I knew you'd understand, Aunt Ava.
My headache is truly trying today.
Are you okay? Natsui, you're looking a bit pale.
Thank you. I'm fine. Still, time really has flown. It feels like just yesterday when you would run around half naked by the beach and come back soaked.
Wait, what?
Wouldn't want Jessica-chan the same? And now she's a lady who fusses over how to put on makeup. I see you focused on your eyebrows. You look really cute today.
Thank you very much. No one noticed, so I was a bit unsure of myself. A full smile came to rose to Jessica's face as the results of her own studies were finally appreciated. Ava smiled back in the same way. Then she turned that smile towards Natsuhi.
Come on, Natsuhine-san. You must take notice of small changes in your own child. Poor Jessica-chan. You probably wanted your mother to notice first, didn't you?
No problem, no problem. That person never notices anything. You're saying that about your own mother!
I hate my mom.
I cannot condone you speaking of your mother in such a fashion.
I will back you up, though.
Apologize.
Later, I will speak to you at length about your language.
If you don't want kids getting in your way, just say so. I'm gonna take a step outside. It's getting stuffy in here.
Jessica.
Jessica was still at the age where tests and entrance exams are pretty nerve-wracking. Recently, she'd clashed often with her mother, who was enthusiastic about her education. Excuse me.
Oh, okay. Third person. Jessica was trying to leave the parlor in a bad mood, bumped into Shannon, who was pushing a serving cart filled with tea.
Ah, Shannon! No need to worry about my tea. I'm just gonna go wander around the garden. M'lady!
Shannon, the tea is getting cold. Serve it quickly.
My apologies.
Shannon hadn't actually done anything wrong. But Natsuhi, who felt like something shameful to herself had been shown, lashed out at her emotionally. And that often happened in the Ashiramiya family. But it seems Shannon wasn't strong-willed enough to just accept it and move on. She shrank back down and cowered while serving the tea. She had the unfortunate habit of making more mistakes when she cowered. Her pitiful appearance ruined the peaceful atmosphere that had existed at a moment before.
No, you were right the first time.
The pitiful atmosphere. It wasn't really Shannon's fault, but she thought that she might be the source and felt a pressure on her chest. Her shaking figure made the utensils clang, and you couldn't have even called it graceful. Not even just to be polite. The more pitiful she appeared, the greater the silence grew. The more irritated Natsuhi looked, and the more Shannon cowered. Shannon's thin neck felt like it was being suffocated and choked by the reaper known as stress. At the time, George spoke brightly, blowing away the stiff atmosphere.
Ah, this smells nice. What kind of black tea is it?
This is...
Oh, no, don't say it. I'll guess. It's a very distinct smell, so I probably know it. Is it Earl Grey?
I think it probably is.
Yeah, I'll bet it's Earl Grey. When you get back to the kitchen, check the tin.
Oh. George-kun, you do know a lot about black tea, don't you?
Not a black tea.
One of the company's presidents who's looked after me was very knowledgeable about black tea. I managed to pick up a little while I was listening to him discuss the subject.
Please stop asking me about work here.
What? Oh!
Okanogi! Dude, your boy, hold up here. Dude, your boy went up and went from mercenary to motherfucking food monopoly.
Okay, I remember this line in advance, and when he was like, I worked with my business partners, I was half tempted to go, like me!
Oh yeah, the president of
Okanogi Foods.
Yep, that sort of trivia is that guy's specialty.
He also knows a lot about guns. It's kind of creepy.
The names of black teas often refer to the places they're made, right?
He has some crazy stories.
So, did this come from a place with that name?
From what I've heard, there's a person called Earl Grey in England long ago that was named after him. Furthermore, this distinctive smell doesn't come from tea leaves, but from a fruit called a bergamot?
Bergamot.
Bergamot, which is relative of the mandarin orange.
Is that so? I never knew that. Learning things like that makes tea taste all the more delicious.
Same thing goes for alcohol and cigarettes.
No.
Luxury items have a taste of romance. Knowing stuff like this deepens the taste.
It's the same as reading a list of benefits on a medicine bottle. Natsuhine-san, you should try reading the explanation on your favorite headache medicine someday.
That's a wonderful idea.
No!
Try it tonight.
No! Yes, I'll do so. Oh, come on!
Shannon-chan, try opening that pot. You should find some dried bergamot mixed in with the tea leaves.
Yes. It's in there.
It sounds like she's just saying it to make him feel better, like, oh yeah, it's definitely in there, don't worry.
It's something like dried orange peel is mixed in.
Yes. That's probably bergamot. The main ingredient in Earl Grey's scent. The scent is vivid, so you might expect the taste to be intense, but it's still gentle and easy to drink. If you make it with milk, the scent should be more mild, which makes it work great. If there's anything left in the pot after you poured for everyone, you really should try drinking it with milk.
Yes. Thank you very much.
George gave her a small wink. Shannon finally realized that George had kind-heartedly swept aside that tense atmosphere in their room.
Okay.
And he had done it for the sake of Shannon herself. A cowering servant. The Shuri family did not pamper their servants. Any display of awkwardness would be harshly punished. So it was rare for them to be given a helping hand like this. Thanks to George's kindness, Shannon managed to regain control of herself and finish serving tea without further incident. As long as she stayed calm, she could carry out her work elegantly and flawlessly. By the time the black tea was laid out on the table and its elegant scent filled the room, the atmosphere had completely returned to its former peaceful mood, and everyone praised George's knowledge. Shannon wanted to thank him for saving her, but it didn't look like she would get the chance. So she decided to at least thank him inside her heart, praying to God that George would hear as she pushed the serving cart away.
You know, that Okanogi guy sure taught me how to wink.
Lord Nissan always lends a helping hand at times like that. By changing the topic or something.
Shannon and Jessica were in the rose garden. Jessica still hadn't returned to the parlor after getting into a fight with her mother and was nonchalantly killing time here.
When I think back on it, I get the feeling this wasn't the first time he's helped me like that. Whenever I made a careless mistake and George was around, I'm pretty sure he'd always naturally smooth things over and restore harmony. Maybe it wasn't something as direct as picking up a fork that had been dropped, but that was his way of caring. Even servants have their pride. They want to fix their own mistakes by themselves. And if the guest lends them a hand, they'll lose face.
He's really good at reading between the lines when stuff like that happens. Well, I guess it's kind of like an art to him. That guy's more of a show-off than he looks.
That's not true. I think he's a really wonderful person.
Shannon, you haven't fallen in love with George Nissan, have you?
For once, Shannon disagreed with Jessica in a slightly forceful tone, which immediately caught Jessica's attention.
No, that's not it. I think...
Come to think of it, I've hardly heard any stories about George Nissan in love. I think I remember hearing him saying that family-oriented girls were his type, didn't I? Sweet, that it fits you perfectly, Shannon.
It does? I don't... I am not... suitable for such a thing.
Not suitable? Ha! Like hell you aren't! You've known him so long, you're practically a childhood friend. Let's say that when you start from a natural relationship where you don't think of each other as a family and as a member of the opposite sex, things start to move pretty fast when you finally start thinking about it.
Oh, fuck. Oops, skipped ahead a little bit.
Hey!
There's no doubt.
There's no doubt!
Jessica loved teen magazines with this kind of story, and she was always getting excited about the things that kind of thing with her friends. She's very quick to pick up on love stories like this. So it wasn't the first time Shannon had been exposed to this kind of story. But this certainly was the first time she started thinking of George as a member of the opposite sex. She was furniture, while George was an honored guest and a member of the Ushirimiya family. Until now, she'd assumed that even imagining any deeper relationship with him would be impermissible. Though she hadn't thought of it. Since it was someone else's problem, Jessica poked fun at it, seeming to enjoy herself. It was all Shannon could do to hide her blushing cheeks. If George would have appeared in it at a time like that, she had no chance of keeping her cool. They saw George come out from the entrance hall of the mansion. He had seen them as well. He headed over, waving his hand. Shannon had to frantically try and regain her ordinary composure before George reached them.
Grandfather finally came down. Now they're having an adult discussion, so they chased me out.
Escaping Ben was the right choice. It'd be better to kiss the angel of death than look at Grandfather's face.
You shouldn't speak that way. But you know, I think Grandfather might think of us as angels of death. After all, we came here to talk about borrowing money for business reasons.
That's right. No, I think this is Shannon.
That's right. This wasn't the customary annual October family conference. Sorry, I'm taking notes.
No problem.
Ava's family had visited to apply for a business loan from the head family. Kinzo had vast resources, and he lent those out to his children. Of course they didn't borrow money because they were living in poverty. How would they expand their businesses with the vast sums they wanted to borrow? How much interest would be attached, and how long would they have to repay it? This wasn't the sort of loan designed for the poor. It was a loan for those who were on the offensive. Man, fuck Teen Beat magazine.
All my homies hate teen magazines.
I thought they were called clips.
Bleh.
Pun.
Kinzo strictly judged whether it be worth lending out his fortune, and afterwards he strictly oversaw its use. The Wakenjima would sometimes play host to this spectacle, where relatives visited and described their businesses to Kinzo. To the parents, these meetings burdened them with the strain of having to move a vast amount of money. But to Jessica, who lived on this isolated island called Wakenjima, it was a precious opportunity to meet up with her cousins. So being able to talk with the occasional guests, such as George, like this, immediately cured the bad mood she'd gotten from that fight with her mother. My family is totally stingy too. Ugh. They probably have money to spare, so why not lend it out graciously? Dad and Grandfather will probably get pig-headed and act all important. Again.
It's natural to be prudent when lending money. Of course, my father will use what he borrows to expand his business, and he came up with a plan that promises a solid probability of repayment. Everything else is left up to the presentation. But I really wish I could watch from the corner and learn. Mother chased me out. I'm a little let down.
It seems the master still tends to scold Krasama and Eva-sama as if they were kids. I'm sure she didn't want to let her son see that. Orange.
Oh, Shannon hung her head. She thought back on a scene familiar to those who worked in the mansion. Even Kraus, who acted haughtily towards his siblings, was still treated like a child by Kinzo. Shannon herself had often seen Kinzo slap Kraus and tell him to sit up straight. Probably very embarrassing to be coerced like that at his age. taking care to avoid being present at times like that is one of the important responsibilities held by the servants working here. However, the fact that Shannon ended up witnessing such a scene meant that she'd messed up at least once in the past.
Yes, I imagine so. Maybe figuring that out and staying away is a part of a child's duty. Ah! That aside, the flowers in this garden truly are splendid this year.
George stretched as he said that, and he smoothly changed the subject away from one that was a little gloomy. This time Shannon noticed it too. This person, George, could sensitively figure out the situation, and always changes the subject to something harmonious out of his kindness. It was so smooth that Shannon hadn't noticed it until today. Today, Shannon really had to admire the way that George did that. Of the boys close to Shannon's age that she had known, nearly all had been classmates during her period of mandatory education. But they had all been young, and none possessed the composure that George had. Mere moments ago, he'd just been another guest, but right now she couldn't help but think of him as something more. However, such thoughts were mere just distractions from her work as a servant. Shannon tried to chase them away with a small shake of her head.
What's up? No, it's nothing. Shall I make some tea? I will prepare some more of that Earl Grey.
Oh, so you remember the name of that tea. I'm glad.
Thank you for your concern back then.
Shannon was finally able to put her gratitude into words. If you wrote it out, it wouldn't be very long. Shannon needed a little spark of courage to say it out loud. But George played dumb.
What do you mean? I don't remember doing anything that I should be thanked for.
He'd be playing the gentleman in his own way, letting her know that he wasn't doing it out of desire for gratitude. George's response seemed to be more or less exactly what Jessica had predicted. She couldn't help but burst out laughing.
See? Isn't he a bit of a show-off at times like this? No. That's not...
Jessica poked fun at Shannon, and the latter remained silent, red-faced. George didn't know the details, but he naturally joined in, laughing in the same way. The three of them lazily walked about the garden, catching up on recent events. George, the oldest cousin, talked about his life experience. Jessica talked about recent life on Norkenjima, and Shannon talked about her recent work. They kept going on about these trivial things, even when Shannon heard the others talk about deeply interesting things. Never felt any particular interest in the actual content of their stories. She was nothing more than a servant, and she had no intention of delving into her master's lives. She simply wanted them to enjoy their time speaking with her, and only pretend to listen intently and nod at the right moments. But for some reason, the things George talked about today seemed to catch her interest powerfully. Even things she normally ignored felt like they contained a trace of kindness behind the words. For some reason, she wanted to know more things about George, no matter how trivial. So, she stared fixedly at him. Thought that as far as looks went, this is Shiramiya George. Probably about average, and didn't stick out in any particular way. But he was diligent, serious, and had a deep prudence which allowed him to understand people's hearts and show concern. But she never noticed these things before now. She may not have met him many times, but she knew his face for many years. Even so, she hadn't noticed it once until now. Shannon, embarrassed by her own obliviousness, blushed. George, perhaps thinking that Shannon would listen intently to his stories, kept talking happily at length about things he had done and seen. But Jessica didn't miss that slight change in Shannon. She decided she changed the conversation to the topic she was sure Shannon was most interested in.
Oh yeah, come to think of it, George Nissan, have you finally gotten a girlfriend or what?
Where did that come from?
Normally, this reaction should have been answer enough. For some reason, as she was now, Shannon wouldn't be able to understand it unless he said it clearly.
George is very nice. So I'm sure, he's very popular.
Well, oh.
Quit it, Shannon. Isn't cornering him like that actually pretty mean? I wasn't trying to be mean.
Well, I'm flattered that you have that mistaken impression of me. But unfortunately, I still haven't had a relationship with any particular girl. After all, my looks are below average, as you can see. And I can't speak tactfully in a way that can entertain a girl.
I don't think that's true. And I think a man's charm is decided by something that can't be measured by his appearance. That's why, I think you might be considered a very attractive man, George-sama.
Shannon was being uncharacteristically verbose. Hardly ever spoke at such a length. George seemed fairly pleased to hear someone applaud his charm like this, but he was just a little surprised at the sudden high praise. Jessica, now sure her guess was spot on, appeared to be barely holding back laughter.
Thank you, Shannon. I hope I do bump into a girl who's generous enough to feel attracted to me before too long.
Yes, I'm sure you'll run into one. I'm sure there's at least one. No, a lot of girls who will recognize your real charm.
You probably want to say that there was at least one girl very close to him. Shannon avoided saying that much, drawing a final line as a servant.
Really? I guess I'm kind of embarrassed.
You've probably never been praised this heavily by a girl before. George's face turned just as bright red as Shannon's. As she watched the two of them, Jessica giggled sadistically.
Get on with it!
Hey, you two should kiss!
Get in the Irie voice.
As fuck already!
Get that made!
Well, I'm sure you'll eventually bump into a wonderful partner, George Nissan. But I doubt you'll be able to properly escort your partner as you are now, right?
I'm just imagining Jessica forcefully shoving Shannon into George.
Like,
Just post Irie's face on Shannon.
Oh god.
You mean George?
No, on Shannon.
So is like, I do not care for the squabbling. For the love of Christ, please get a fucking room!
Like, Irie is trying to help George get that made.
Does this mean he's activated his stand?
Who said that Irie's not in prison, though?
I can't believe he's made in heaven.
Man, he would love this place.
We have the timeline where Irie's in the prison, and Okanogi is just vibing at his food joint.
Do you think Irie would be into Kumasawa? Because she's a maid?
No!
I think it's
he likes him young.
Oh no, he does like him young.
Different kind of line there, dude.
Oh, brother. Alright, come on, keep it going.
It looks like you're diligent, but you've completely abandoned your study of that.
Sorry about that. I'll start studying that bit by bit.
And how do you plan to do that all by yourself? Unless you have a flashlight and a piece of comic book.
Huh?
Are you gonna watch romance movies or something? Or are you gonna learn from Uncle Hideyoshi?
That's my boy!
Well, you're acting pretty triumphant.
Damn right.
Men are no match for girls when it comes to this sort of thing.
Normally, when George and Jessica got together, their parents would say George is diligent and admirable, and Jessica is lazy and rude. It was probably unbearably fun for Jessica to have their roles finally reversed. George realized this as well, so he resigned himself to being the one getting teased for once.
No, George Nissan. As long as you're okay with it, why not practice a bit with Shannon? It'll be your job to keep Shannon entertained all day long on a date. What do you think? What are you? Milady!
When she heard Jessica's audacious plan, Shannon's face turned bright red with a poof, and a donut of smoke started to rise from her head.
That's a very tempting plan, but I wouldn't want to burden Shen and Jen. I would just end up wasting one of her precious days off, wouldn't it? I'd be butting in on that sacred time that she should be spending alone with someone she really likes. I couldn't do something so boorish.
I hope so. I don't have a person I have feelings for or anything, so, there's there's no need to hold back for my sake.
Shannon's blood had all rushed to her head and looked like she didn't even know what she was babbling about. Jessica, who knew how Shannon normally was, seemed to be finding this hilarious. She couldn't hide her cackling laughter anymore.
But is that true? I can't believe a cute girl like you would be single, shouldn't you?
I am a servant, so, of course I don't have any relationships with boys. Which means that if Shannon ever wants to change and get herself a wonderful guy, she needs practice with relationships too, right? So you both want the same thing. Sweet! That'll be perfect.
Jessica irresponsibly cheered the two of them on, especially considering the age gap. By now, even George was hanging his head and turning red.
George, I've been meaning to call to you for a while now. Didn't you hear me?
When Ava appeared in what was already an embarrassing situation, both of them got even more flustered. Jessica watched and laughed loudly.
Mother. Sorry, I was so engrossed in our conversation. I didn't notice.
Oh, Ava-sama, you have my deepest apologies.
It looks like you two new young kids are getting fired up together. You're all about that age. Oh, I know how kids your age can talk about that sort of thing forever.
Come on, you're still young yourself, Aunt Ava. Please, tell us how you and Uncle Hideyoshi met.
I actually do want to know this story. Oh my, there's no way I could say that. You all really are so young.
Now I really want to know.
So, what is it, Mother? You called because you wanted something, right?
Your father and the rest have finished talking. We're going to talk to Grandfather about you, so come on in.
Oh, about me? What could that be?
It's the same thing you were all talking about just now. You know what I mean, right?
Oh, that. That isn't really something we need to talk to grandfather about, right?
What's going on? Wait, George Nissan, are you getting married? Congratulations!
No. Didn't I just say I didn't have a particular woman I was interested in?
That isn't something to brag about, is it? Good grief.
Ava smiled bitterly, looking a little exasperated.
Oh, I get it. George Nissan, it's one of those, right? An Omiyai marriage meeting. A marriage meeting, you say? Now I've got cookies in my throat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Surely, as a man, George wanted to find a partner by himself and bring her home with him. It seemed that he thought it a bit pathetic to meet his partner for the first time in a marriage meeting arranged by his parents.
Shouldn't marriages meetings be done at a more mature age? I still don't feel like I've become a full-fledged adult.
Of course we have no desire to rush into an immediate engagement or marriage, right? There's nothing wrong with deepening your friendship first and then having her move to our family register after you've gotten older and settled down. It's as simple as that, dear.
Judging by Ava's forceful attitude and George's non-committal one, the others could catch a glimpse of the story between this marriage meeting. They didn't know who George was supposed to be meeting, but it was surely someone who would profit Ava's family in a business sense. The fact that they'd been satisfied with a mere engagement to deepen the relationship between the two families, rather than an immediate marriage, it'd almost feel like a political maneuver.
You see, marriage isn't something you should enter into only after you start liking someone. You marry first, and then you adjust. If you marry based purely on emotion, you will always end up regretting it.
It's all. There you go.
There's certainly nothing wrong with choosing a person with a secure background for your partner in life, and then developing your affection later.
And Eva, isn't that kind of rude, Uncle Hideyoshi?
Fucking hell.
Zing!
Mother, I do believe that people who sell themselves off for money are called prostitutes.
I love that man.
Oh my god.
I want to always be with him and to live my life by his side.
Eva-sama, that's wonderful. Truly splendid.
Thank you. But we built up those feelings while we were husband and wife, you see.
Make sure you like each other after you're married.
I don't like that.
Oh god.
She's still a MILF though.
God damn it, Joshy.
Hideyoshi made her a MILF!
I sure did!
Oh my god. What are you people talking about? Where's Beatrice?
Oh, Genji, he's on the loose again.
Understood, Cannon. I'll go get Kumasawa.
Get the butterfly net!
Oh my god.
Oh my god. And I believe that in the future we will be much, much closer than we are now. I think that's what's best for a married couple.
Still, I don't think you can use that to argue that it's okay to marry someone you don't even like.
But it also doesn't mean that it's okay to marry anyone as long as you like them. It only takes an instant to get married. But your life as a married couple will last a long, long time after that. So you should search with prudence and avoid making decisions based on momentary emotions. Don't you think a matter like this would better be handled by us rather than a person lacking in life experience such as yourself?
I feel like she's the type of person that like demands you not divorce people.
Now, once again, Mother, isn't selling yourself for money called prostitution?
This is the point. Because getting married off of base split emotions actually is a common problem. But at the same time, don't pick and choose your fucking spouse for your kids. Jesus, fuckaroni and cheese.
That may be true, but
I'm proud of you, my only son. You've grown magnificently, and I'm sure you'll do us proud no matter where you go. And now that Battlecun has left the family register, your father's only male grandchild carrying his blood. We must prudently choose a fitting partner for you.
We have to continue the bloodline, George.
We have to continue the bloodline. I'm actually
Her
crying.
mother to the Ashirmia family knew Ava adored George immensely. But that didn't mean she had pampered him. She has been strict with him, and had raised him into a wonderful boy who wouldn't betray her expectations. That's why she treasured him so.
George, I found a lovely woman for you. Her name is Claire Redfield.
Fucking Ava just rips off her mask, revealing that it's actually Chris Redfield this entire time.
have you seen Chris Redfield and Ava in the same room?
No, you haven't.
Okay, I can't laugh that hard. Getting my cough going.
Oh my god, George! I'll get you out of there! You'll be safe in my sister's arms in no time!
So move over, Leon. We've now got George.
Claire, I found a rich boy for you.
He's related to this incredibly remote family. They are rich beyond your wildest dreams.
And then he sees the mansion and gets PTSD.
Oh god!
I have to do it for the bloodline! Damn it, PTSD!
Like he starts the fucking witch shit starts happening. He's like, what type of virus is this?
It really is a bio curse.
No, I get episode 1 when they're all hauled up in the study.
No. The moment he hears the word umbrella, he just starts twitching his eyeballs and going, ooh.
When they're holed up in the my final thing would be when they're holed up in the study, George is really scared, and he looks at George and everyone is like, "I'll get you out of there!" And he breaks into the study window, grabs George and Battler, and then runs away.
Oh god, we need to go ahead and do an edit for that.
Alright, come on, let's keep going.
Okay. Okay. Your partner certainly won't be selected based on your parents' profit and law. I'll bring you a suitable and truly wonderful woman. At this moment, your immaturity might make this seem unpleasant to you. But if you're going to take my advice on anything, listen to me now. Have I ever failed to act in your best interest?
Yes, right now. No, you haven't.
That's enough for now. So let's go. You're keeping father waiting. Hurry to the mansion.
Oh, sorry, you two. See you later.
George bowed to the two of them, and after bowing once more to Shannon, he dashed off to the mansion.
I'll be going with him. Forgive me for interrupting such an entertaining conversation, Jessica-chan, Shannon-chan. No.
Please, don't worry about it. Come on, Shannon. Let's go. Yes.
It's okay. I'm sure you'll meet someone wonderful too soon, Jessica-chan. A wonderful person suitable for you.
So if he's at the same level as me, you mean a guy with shit grades? That kind of pisses me off. I'm gonna knock your face in, bitch.
And of course you too, Shannon-chan. I'm sure that a wonderful man suitable for you will appear.
Yes. Thank you very much.
As Ava giggled and smiled, she approached Shannon's ear with a hand over her mouth, as though she was trying to tell her a secret.
Huh?
I'm sure you'll find a perfect match for a lonely servant like yourself. Have you forgotten to be grateful for your education? Know your place. Know your place.
That's not what I meant.
George is the eldest grandson carrying father's blood. He is a person who may bear the burden of the Shirofia family someday in the future. To answer to that expectation, he has studied tirelessly, entered a wonderful college, and is getting wonderful grades. Did you really think you could snatch George away? You uneducated, incompetent, unqualified, uncultured servant.
Those malicious words all poured into Shannon's ear without a spilling drop. To Shannon, it was like a cold water being poured in there.
I didn't mean...
This was all whispered to Shannon in secret. With the same smile as before, Jessica, who could only see Ava's expression, didn't think it was anything other than Ava telling Shannon some embarrassing story about love. The conversation ended, Ava patted Shannon's shoulders as though she was urging her on.
Don't worry. I'm sure you'll find a perfect match for a partner. Right. Okay, Jessica-chan. See you later.
Yeah, see you later. And make sure you tell me all about you and Uncle Hideyoshi next time.
No way.
Ava laughed loudly and headed back to the entrance hall. Behind Jessica, who was cheerfully waving her hand, Shannon reflected very, very deeply on those words of Ava's about knowing her place. This is Shannon talking.
It's time for me to take a serious look at how full of myself I've been acting. I forgot. I'm furniture. Furniture isn't human. So, I'm a being who must feel gratitude for even being treated like a human. and I am not permitted to wish for anything more. People sometimes develop affection for furniture they're used to using. But that is an emotion, and on the human side, then the furniture has no right to hope for such a thing. It's enough that furniture serves simple honesty day after day. That feeling I got when I talked to George-sama and Jessica-sama is the same as a forbidden drug to me. In other words, it may be an emotion I must never experience. Sorry, needed a drink.
Shen, you've had your head in the clouds for some time now. Do you not feel well?
No. My apologies.
Natsuhi's words were right on the mark. Even Shannon couldn't believe that she hadn't noticed Natsuhi had called. Normally it was essential that she focus on her cleaning at this time of day. But she spent all her time sighing and hardly making any progress.
Even when there aren't any guests around, you must always be alert. Behavior like this is shameful for Nishimiya family servant.
Yes, ma'am. I will take care. From now on.
The head and my husband will return very soon. Have you finished cleaning the study? Have you finished cleaning the staircase?
My apologies. Not yet.
Yes, I know. So I had Lunon do it. While you were plodding around cleaning the hallway, she finished cleaning the study and the staircase.
That's because... I wanted to clean it properly, so it took some time.
Shannon was simple and honest. She would always carry out her tasks seriously and properly, without any omissions. So she wasn't always slow with her work. In contrast, Lunon cleverly avoided doing extra work whenever it was possible.
Lunon?
So she could complete her jobs with a result that looked almost the same as to an outsider, but in a much shorter time. In other words, she was a shrewd employee. Compared to that, it was probably fair to say that Shannon wasn't very shrewd at all, talking back to Natsuhi when Natsuhi was in a bad mood. Of course, there's nothing that Natsuhi couldn't stand more than a servant talking back. Her forehead creased as she spoke sternly. And yet her slow, admonishing style of speech was even more terrifying, and finally made Shannon realize that she had said the wrong thing.
Then perhaps you should aim to do a truly, thoroughly cleaning. Shannon, I order you to clean the reception hall right now. It is an important hall where several pictures treasured by the head are displayed, and where all the guests of the Yoshiramiya family are welcome. Clean it thoroughly, so that not a speck of dust remains, and so that even you are satisfied. Of course, you will finish before the day is out. Until you finish that and report to me, you will not be permitted food or rest. Understood?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, madame.
That is good. Servants should endeavor to only use those words. The next time you talk back, your punishment will be even more severe. So with that in mind, engrave these words into your heart.
Yes, madam. Thank you for your guidance.
You are welcome. You are welcome.
Behaving as though her headache was troubling her, Natsuhi headed off down the corridor. When she couldn't see her anymore, Shannon hung her head and sighed. That was what happened when she had her head in the clouds. Talking in the first person for Shannon.
Even though I'm bad at everything I do, I should be able to at least carry out the cleaning as well as an average person can, right? It's because I can't even perform that very well, that I'm crying so pathetically. But what's even more shameful is that not only have I been unable to perform a single bit of cleaning well, but just now, when Natsuhi was scolding me, I imagined that person appearing and rescuing me. Only George-sama were here. Would he casually step in and save me? Surely he'd show up cheerfully, intentionally acting like he didn't know what was going on, nimbly change the subject, and make me forget I'd ever been rebuked by Natsuhi. I kept envisioning him, suddenly appearing from the other side of the door, or at the other end of the hallway. I envisioned the kind of person that would be an appropriate partner for him in a marriage meeting. And I envisioned how unfitting I was for him. Ava clearly told me. It's been repeating over and over in my dream.
Yeah!
Way to pop off, man!
There he is.
So is that what it's like when streamers play those funny little horror games?
You're still as clumsy as ever, Nason. Lydia has been in a bad mood since this morning. That just now happened because you talked too much. And you should have just hung your head in silence.
Uncle.
Cannon was suddenly there. His footsteps were always quieter than a cat's, and he never left any trace of his presence. He probably could have stood there forever, and she still wouldn't have noticed him. This expression on Cannon's face was one of hatred. He made that expression for Shannon, who didn't know how to do it herself.
Madam and Lunan can fall into hell. That person knows where Madam checks and only cleans those areas. Her cleaning just now is like that. I know because I saw. She wasn't really cleaning. She's just the worst kind of parasite, leeching off your what?
Leeching off your thorough cleaning.
Oh, okay. Leeching off your thorough cleaning.
I hate those kinds of people, man.
That bitch can't clean like you, Nason, on God.
You mustn't use such dirty words. Dirty words pollute your clean soul, Canon-kun. So at least don't use those words in front of me. Okay?
Cannon turned away as though sulking. It was reaction that hid his true feelings, which was very like Cannon. Oh. You can go.
It was a reaction that hid his true feelings, which was very like Canon. But I was a little happy. He was getting mad for my sake.
Cleaning the reception hall will be tough. I'll help.
Thank you. But I was the one Madam ordered, so don't worry. Don't you also have your own work, Hanon-kun?
It's a filthy job. My soul was polluted longer. Fucking
Crawling in my skin.
Show me how defenseless.
I love Canon so much because can I be real? His design's a bit goofy, but like he acts kind of like an edgelord at times. My soul was polluted long ago.
Let's go into the notes.
Canon then hung his head and bit his lower lip.
Just hearing you say you'll help is enough for me. If you don't go back to your own job, then you'll be punished as well. And that would make me sad.
Canon knew Canon's character well. Sometimes he didn't think enough about himself.
If I don't refuse forcefully, he'll help me even if it means neglecting his own job.
Canon was a little sad that his goodwill had been rejected. He realized that what he was doing would only hurt her more in the end. He gave a single small sigh.
Understood. Do your best, Nason.
Yes. And I am also partly to blame.
You're not at fault. You aren't at fault.
What's up, Canon? Go. It's you.
Didn't I say it?
He said it.
Did it not come out? Oh shit.
Didn't
Okay.
say Nason.
Oh. You aren't at fault at all, Nason.
Oh. I am. So go now.
Canon-kun's face showed that he still hadn't completely accepted it, but without being any more obstinate, he disappeared. Even though Canon-kun came to... Nope, you.
I was about to say. Even though Canon-kun came to give me words of comfort when I was down. Even so, I was dejected again because it wasn't him. That in itself was a sin. It went far beyond any dream the likes of me could be permitted to see. I don't know my place.
Shannon, who had neglected breakfast,
yeah.
already felt her concentration begin to waver. If she didn't finish up cleaning the reception hall, she wouldn't receive Natsuhi's permission to eat. That cruel Natsuhi had surely told the kitchen something to that effect.
I have to respectfully receive Madam's punishment. That's right. My position in this world is furniture, and I've been intoxicated by a dream that's beyond me. I finished cleaning the hallway and went to the reception hall. Maybe my hunger made my nose more sensitive. I could sense a delicious aroma wafting from the kitchen, even though it was far away, and my empty stomach was encouraged even more. Until I finished up here, I wouldn't get any soup. I just had to resolve myself to doing it. Several portraits were hung in the reception hall. One of those portraits was thought to hold a special meaning amongst the servants. It was the portrait of the witch. That wasn't its true name, but everyone in the mansion called it that. The name of the woman with elegant blonde hair, drawn as the subject of that portrait, was Beatrice. 1 second.
I really wish people would stop firing fireworks off.
Mm.
I was doing a line and I kind of stopped midway because I heard a fucking firework.
It tends to happen, especially
Power
in
move. Get fireworks of your own. Fire it to no.
Fire away directly into their house.
I'm a little out of sorts.
It was whispered that she might be the former mistress of Kinzo, the family head. And also that she was the great witch who had given Kinzo the gold of the legend. The witch, Beatrice, master of the night on Mokenjima. She was gracious to those who respected her, but she would surely curse those who made light of her.
It was in Shannon's character not to neglect the rules and beliefs such as those. So she thought of the portrait of her other master as that person herself. Thus treated it carefully, treasuring it. It had become part of her daily routine to tell the witch, who had only existed inside the portrait, the secrets of her heart. She was furniture. Furniture doesn't complain. Not complain. She had nowhere to speak her mind about her difficult days. She had no right to open her mouth and say those words. So she at least spoke her mind inside her heart. She spoke her using words she couldn't say aloud, and protested to the formless witch. Of course, the witch didn't answer. She didn't console and she didn't laugh it off. And I can only interpret that silence as she liked, as though the witch was responding agreeably.
Beatrice, please listen to the story of my worthless self.
As Shen wiped the dust from the witch's portrait, she spoke that inside of her heart.
I certainly am incompetent and uncultured, just as Eva-sama said. I am not a person. So maybe I have no right to love. But in that case, why was I given a heart that can know love?
At that point, Shannon held back her tears for a moment. The sound of the rain, which started falling, along with the chill air in the reception hall, made it feel as though her shabbiness had increased another level.
Real furniture doesn't have anything like a heart. So they don't have to fall in love and have to love people, right? So they don't feel pain. If I'm just another piece of furniture, why do I have a heart? If it's going to be this painful and this harsh, I wish I was never given a heart like this.
That was a creepy giggle as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else trust that giggle? Anyone?
I mean, she's already done the giggle.
Yeah. Also, I believe this is somebody else talking.
I see. So a heart was given to furniture. It would seem that even that man is capable of some quite amusing things every now and again.
Something this is just a bit of a vocal tick that I think works well for Beatrice is dragging out certain words, like instead of going furniture, go furniture, that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay, so do the Vriska circuit thing.
Like go is I guess
You're
you could
not
say-
wrong.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So the heart was given to furniture, like that a little bit.
What?
The witch who never answered or laughed answered and laughed.
Was it my imagination? Was I hearing things?
No, that's wrong.
No, that's wrong. Sorry, I was taking notes.
That's fine. Hang it wrong.
After all, the next words became a voice and I could hear them. Not with my heart, but with my ears.
Humans have continuously searched for the elements that make up the world since before the modern era. It is said that in ancient times, the Greeks tried explaining the world with the 4 elements of wind, fire, water, and earth. And after that, over several millennia, humans added several elements to those 4, trying to explain the world with several interpretations, such as the 5 elements, the 6 elements, the 7 elements, the 8 elements, and the 12 elements. But they were never able to describe the one sole truth that exists, the single element. However, a single man appeared with the guidance of a stone, and finally explained the single element that makes up the world. Know what it is?
Shannon fearfully turned around. Right there, she existed. Not an illusion, but as a reality. The contrast made by the lightning made it clear that this was no mere daydream. This is Beatrice talking.
It's love.
The witch of the portrait elegantly held a golden pipe to her mouth and giggled. She laughed as the ignorance that caused humankind's thoughts to stray far from the most simple answer.
That man explained everything in the world with love. That is the single element. That man fully explained how the world was constructed with the smallest possible number. How simple and clear, how splendid, exhilarating, pleasant, and thrilling. That year that man was finally born is called the start of the modern era.
Shannon lost any words to speak. Although when first meeting an unknown guest, her first wish would be to ask that person's name. But without saying anything, Shannon knew that person's name, so she refrained. No. Surely it would be the greatest disrespect for someone who lived or worked on this island to ask this woman her name. After all, she was the other master of this island. Besides Kim.
Beatrice-sama?
Indeed. I am Beatrice. Even after 1,000 years, I see that people still always give me that look when we first meet. I never get tired of it.
The witch giggled at how Shannon's reaction didn't betray her expectations. Shannon realized that she had met with a being that mustn't be met with. She took a step backwards. That's where the wall and the portrait were, so even as she gazed at the witch's portrait was touching her back.
The source of your trouble is love. Love, the single element that makes up this world. In other words, it is everything in this world. When it is lacking, then your world is lacking too. It is no different than scooping water into a canteen with a hole in it. Even if you scoop and scoop, that eternal desert of the heart never fills. It is the original sin that humans are founded upon, and everything is made of. Understand? When Adam and Eve put the fruit of knowledge to their lips, love is what they learned of. Because of that, humans were chased out of the garden and became fully human. Which means that knowing love and suffering is what makes one human. You kind-hearted child, you ought to be praised. Now that you've gained this knowledge, you are no longer furniture. You are now human. I recognize that with all the authority of my name. Is it hard for a common person to understand? Very well, then. Forgive me. It has been a long time since I have spoken with a human. Allow me to apologize for my talkativeness.
Without waiting for a reply from Shannon, Beatrice left pleasantly for a while.
Perhaps this isn't much by way of an apology, but I would be willing to grant that wish of yours with my power, if you so desire.
Huh?
The meaning of those words surprised Shannon even more than the witch's sudden appeal.
I am offering to bring you and the one you love together. Normally, I would demand something of equal value in return. However, I am in a good mood. And you have never failed to pay your respects to me in the past. That is something rewarding. Is it that true?
Normally, Shannon would be shocked and struck dumb by this seemingly impossible guest. However, almost as though she was already under the witch's spell, Shannon responded.
With my magic, it would be no trouble at all to arrange for you to be joined with the one you love. Yes, of course.
Yes, of course.
Shannon almost said that without thinking, but held back with her last bit of common sense. After all, this is a witch. A sinister being. The witch Beatrice is clearly trying to slip in through the cracks in my heart. Take me prisoner. Now it's you.
The witch Beatrice is clearly trying to slip into the cracks of my heart and take me prisoner. That sort of temptation, which so many fairy tale picture books warned me about when I was young, is right in front of me now.
Fear is also a form of respect. It may be pleasant for me, but we will make no progress this way. I may not differ much from the image of a detestable witch that you hold in your mind. However, I do bestow my favor upon those who respect me. Aren't humans the same? Well, I doubt any human would bestow a favor upon one with such a hostile attitude.
My apologies. I didn't mean...
Shannon eventually realized how rude she was acting towards the guest. And she finally digested the words that had been spoken to her a short while ago. You are no longer furniture. Now you are human. She reflected upon those words. Shannon felt as though the witch understood all of her worries.
What was that? Just now. About a reward?
I can say that I can arrange for you to be joined with the man who has captured your heart. Think of it as a sign of gratitude for your diligence in polishing my portrait day after day. Wonderful job, by the way. Calm yourself. I ask for nothing in return. I am generous. However, though I ask for nothing in return, I do have a request.
Look, here it comes. Part of Shannon's heart sent her a warning. This is what all those scary picture books she read when she was little had warned her about.
Sorry, Aizuchi.
Do you know of the small Taurian shrine that has been constructed on the ocean very near this island, which you can see when you gaze at the cliffs?
Shannon immediately remembered it. You reached for Kenjima by boat. There was a torii and a shrine on the reef that was too small to be called even an islet. Islet. I'm pretty sure Kumasawa... Oh, that's you.
I'm pretty sure Kumasawa-san told me its history, but I can't remember it well. A traveling Shugenja, a kind of holy man, had built it or prayed there or something. Yes, I know about it. But why do you bring it up?
I will not explain everything, including the very basics, to one ignorant of demons. Simply put, it's causing me trouble. The truth is, there is a mirror kept inside that shrine. I want you to break it.
It was quite a suspicious request. Shannon didn't know the details, but anything stored inside a shrine would have to be something sacred. And she wants me to break it. Oh, let's go ahead.
And she wants me to break it? Why would a wish ask a human for help instead of doing it herself?
There was no need for Shannon to speak her thoughts aloud. Beatrice responded to Shannon's reasonable doubt before Shannon could even give her that answer.
The magical power of that mirror opposes my own. I cannot explain it well with human words. For example, let us speak of the difference between utensils. That may be more apt. That mirror is a fork, and my power is soup. You cannot drink soup with a fork, correct? If only the resistance of that mirror were gone, I could produce a spoon ideal for drinking soup. After that, I could drink soup as I pleased, and even dig my way out of a rocky prison. I could even gouge someone's eye out with it. Was that not the phrase? Was it another phrase?
I don't know what you're talking about. If my poor education is to blame, I apologize.
It comes down to this. If you take action and break that annoying mirror for me, I shall grant your wish as a reward. I am in quite a good mood today. You may even exchange your wish and receive all the gold I bestowed upon Kinzo if you so desire.
I refuse.
What?
When she heard Shannon's words, Beatrice realized that for the first time ever, that her expectations had been betrayed.
If you have a reason, tell me. If there has been some misunderstanding, I shall resolve it.
I don't really understand the reasoning. But up until now, this island had been at peace, and nothing bad has happened. So, even if I don't break the mirror, the peace that has existed until today should continue into the future.
Yes. Yes, you are quite right. It's just as you say. If you don't break the mirror, the same unbreakable days that have passed until now will continue into tomorrow and the next day.
One second, sorry, I'm taking notes as I go.
No problem.
Oh, alright.
still writing notes.
Hey, take your time.
It's okay, take your time.
If you don't break the mirror... Oh, I already read that line, didn't I? Why don't I give you an absolute guarantee? I shall stake my name, Beatrice, on it. The unbreakable days before this time will continue into tomorrow and the next day. And for eternity, in perpetuity.
Shannon felt overwhelmed by an eerie illusion. The mirror probably existed for the purpose of restraining the witch. So, if Shannon broke it, the person who stood to gain was supposedly the witch herself. And yet Shannon felt somehow that she had to do it for her own sake. Felt like some premise had been switched around.
I will do nothing but grant you a chance to bring your feelings to fruition. It's up to you to decide whether you'll break it or not. If you break it, I shall grant your wish. Simple as that. But if you don't, the tomorrows that came before today will continue for all eternity. Your wish will not be granted for all time. Do you understand? Do you see what I mean?
The witch was speaking. She was pressing Cannon, saying that she must break the mirror if she ever wanted to be united with George. It was a declaration that Shannon's feelings would never be brought to fruition unless she broke it.
Please, stop it! I don't want to hear something like that.
It was never my goal to cause you pain. Oh well. When love leads to madness, that is when we see the true charm of humanity. Enjoy that emotion to your heart's content. However, if you wish to borrow my power, feel free to break that mirror at any time. And then you may yell my name and awaken me. I will certainly keep my promise. This way, you should have no complaints, right? I won't force you to decide right now. Easy, is it not?
Was it really such an easy thing to do? No, it certainly wasn't. The Shannon who was burning with infatuation and worried by love, being tempted constantly and eternally with a way out was truly a cruel tale.
I won't put a time on that promise, but there is a time limit on the magic that can grant your wish. That limit is not of my making. The one you love will decide it himself. You see my meaning?
No, I don't understand.
When the one you care for finds the partner to whom he ought to pledge his love, that limit will be reached. I may be a witch, but I am no demon. I can assure you that right now, Chief. I possess no magic to tear apart a pair of those who love each other. The one you love will soon be attending a marriage meeting, yes? You may have stronger feelings for that man than anyone else in the world. However, that doesn't mean you are the most suitable partner for him, does it? I know with whom he will be having his marriage meeting. That girl is the most suitable for Ushiromiya George in the entire world. She came from a good school, achieved good grades, and possesses both composure and thoughtfulness. She is more beautiful than you, wiser than you, more suitable than you. How could an ignorant, incompetent, uncultured girl like you be suitable? You know better than anyone. There are none less suitable than you. Even imagining that you and Ushiromiya George could be joined is sinful and foolish, foolish, foolish. Know your place. Have you forgotten to be grateful for your education? Know your place.
George is the eldest grandson carrying father's blood. Each person may bear the burden of the Ashurmiya family someday in the future. And to that expectation he has studied tirelessly, entered a wonderful college, and is getting wonderful grades. Oh, this is whatever. You think you could snatch George away, you uneducated, incompetent, unqualified, uncultured servant?
I did that too well.
Stop it! Don't bully Shannon! Who the hell are you?
At that time, as Shannon held her head, trying to protect her heart from the blade of Beatrice's words, Cannon ran in front of her. Cannon didn't care who this woman was. If this is an enemy tormenting Shannon, whom he loved and respected as a sister, nothing else mattered.
Cannon-kun, stay back! This person is...
It seemed Cannon also realized that the being standing before him was the witch of the portrait, and also that she was something to be feared.
I simply wish to give Shannon a chance to claim her reward, but it seems I said too much and ended up hurting her. Oh, I need to work on competent talking to people. I must apologize for that. But I shall leave behind the promise as a reward to you. If you need my power, call me at any time. I have already told you how. Well then, let us call it a night. Hostile gazes may be pleasant, but they damage your beauty, yes.
Disappear. I don't know who you are, but you're threatening Shannon. Don't ever show yourself again!
Cannon's words seemed to deeply annoy the witch.
Watch your language, lowborn. I may be gracious to those who respect me, but I am brutal to those who do not.
While she still smiled, the witch's face began to twist itself. Then an oppressive feeling that couldn't be noticed with any of the five senses gradually filled the room. Though they couldn't understand it, they immediately realized it was something terrifying. When you swim in the ocean and something large passes by in the waters beneath you, you want to escape to land even before you learn what it is. That's exactly what this is like.
Please, Tobikazu-sama! Cannon-kun is still a child. I apologize for his language.
Cannon placed his body between the witch and Shannon. There was a tense sweat in his forehead. At that time, the witch certainly held Cannon's fate in the palm of her hand. Didn't even need to lift a finger. She held a grasp on his face so tight that a single twist of her smile could easily crush it. Cannon understood that well, so he started sweating. His knees felt weak. However, Beatrice abruptly released that feeling of tension and laughed.
Very well. If you ask, I will forgive you just this once. Canon, is it? In deference to her, I shall forgive you tonight and send you off. You ought to thank me. Well then, let us call it a night. In parting, I shall leave you with a small souvenir. Hold out the palm of your left hand, you two.
And Beatrice grinned broadly and snapped her fingers. Their left hands stretched out in front of them against their will, and their palms opened. It was a strange sensation, as though only their left hands now belonged to someone else. Like only their left hands had become puppets, being pulled by strings hanging down from the ceiling.
What? What are you trying to do?
Ganon resisted, but he couldn't retract his hands of his own free will.
Don't struggle. It will be over soon.
When Beatrice held her pipe aloft, a gold-colored, sparkling dust came out of the smoke and hovered in the air. The sparkle eventually became several gold butterflies. The beautiful butterflies danced freely throughout the reception hall, forming a fantastical and beautiful work. After the two of those butterflies aligned on the palms of Shannon and Canon's hands.
No!
There was a sharp pain as though they had been burned. Two of them tried to examine their palms. That hold on their bodies, which had been there seconds ago, had gone without a trace.
A mark? What is...
There's now a tiny burn mark on the palm of her hand. It was shaped like a butterfly.
But what is this supposed to be?
Apparently Canon had the same mark on his hand. He stared at the witch hatefully.
A simple greeting. I have no hidden motive. It is nothing more than a bruise, so it will heal in just a few days. There's not even any need to care for it. I assure you, I made that mark so that tomorrow you will not forget that I was truly here, and that I made a promise with you. Simple as that. An encounter with me can be quite shocking. Sometimes when the next morning comes, people try to think of such an encounter as a dream or an illusion. You ought to consider this slowly and carefully, Shannon. And you should probably take a good rest. Look at my mark tomorrow morning, and try considering it again. I shall not coerce you in any way possible. You should freely decide your future by your own will. Still, to think that one could obtain the object of their desire for such a small price. Surely this would annoy him to no end the great artists who write plays about blighted love. Well then, let us meet again when the chance arises. How entertaining it is to have a conversation again after so much time. Goodbye, furniture.
Beatrice's body crumbled like smoke and blew away. It was golden smoke. No. A cloud of golden butterflies. They all scattered in all directions inside the reception hall, leaving a golden splash before disappearing in the thin air. After that, only the cold silence was left. It was so silent it made both of them think they might have been daydreaming until just a moment ago. Which was why the witch had left those marks. She had done so to make it impossible for them to think of this as a daydream. Shannon can remember the butterfly bruises on their hands, the pain they'd felt when they'd been made, kept standing still, stunned. And from that moment on, Shannon was tormented by days of suffering and conflict.
And that's
it for
tonight.
the night. Yeah.
Yo!
Wonderful utopia.
This was interesting.
Yeah.
I was honestly expecting just literally a full-on time reset. We just do it again, except like maybe Battler would remember things and it would work out for him.
So, Shelly, can you think of why they kind of freaked out when you looked up Shannon death scene?
Oh, let me guess. She does it again.
I mean, I actually don't know, but the fact that we're doing a time loop, maybe.
I mean, but this is still before the events of anything that happened on Rokenjima even started.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
This is still way before October 4th and 5th.
Oh, we're in a prelude.
Yeah. Also, do keep in mind that Higurashi and Umineko are different works, so the rules do be a little different.
Yeah, the rules
There
are
may
not
be
necessarily.
similarities, but there is nothing that directly ties these two stories together, like by conceptually, I guess you could say. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like to mention, like, while I did watch the anime, I barely remember shit from it, so I'm just assuming that there's the possibility Shannon's gonna die again.
Oh fuck! You can hear my fucking sticky note. Fuck.
Already. I've got my notes.
Okay, so we're gonna do the note section.
Yee.
Yeah, sadly, we did a session, like kind of a off-stream session that was being recorded of our thoughts, like post episode 1, that got corrupted.
Yes, the video unfortunately corrupted. It was a post episode 1 discussion. I will get with Khan or Bone and whoever else was theory crafting and get them to restate what they were saying.
Very quickly, in case people decide to dip
Corrupted.
out at
Almost an hour discussion,
No,
and
yeah.
it corrupted.
The parts where after we finished episode 1, yep, that's gone. The thing where I made the Warhammer reference.
I will say before we start with the proper discussion, I know people might want to dip out during this part of it. Hey, thank you for watching. Consider following, so I can stop e-shilling online. I really appreciate that.
I know this is going to take a little bit of editing work, but for the next few
YouTube.
seconds, I'm going to go ahead
We
and do
have
something completely uncharacteristic of me. Joshy, I'd appreciate it if in editing you could go ahead and put one of those things from, what's the show? Eric Andre's show where it goes into the "We'll be right back" meme. Because as of right now, this is going to hurt me.
Hey, what?
Why?
What?
What?
Something about the corrupted file.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Screamed into one of my plushies, god dang it!
Holy shrimp on a stick!
Oh, for fuck's sake.
We'll give our thoughts in a separate thing about what we expect.
Yeah, well, I'll just get you guys together and do a other recording. Plus, maybe I had too much background noise from my mic as well. Maybe it was probably a good thing. It got corrupted.
Maybe it's a wager. Sorry.
By the way, from now on, I am to be referred to as Holy Shrimp. Just so you know.
Okay, Jelly.
Goodbye, Holy Shrimp.
Nah, I'm just joking. I'll change it back. I'm Holy Shrimp now.
Okay. After session discussion.
Want to start from top to bottom of the people that don't know?
Okay.
Sure, go.
Alright. So, my thoughts. Don't really have many at the moment. I am actually kind of surprised to see Beatrice is now well, I'm not that surprised. I can see this happening. But yeah, it is interesting to see Beatrice take a much more forward position. I am curious what type of shenanigans and what type of doublespeak she's talking. How much is she saying without saying anything? But, yep, I'll pass it off to Shelly.
Hello, this is
Sorry.
Shelly. I'm not. Wait, are we still live?
We're still live.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I have some theories about why it's different. I think simply the Beatrice is trying to keep Elder Rika from becoming bored. So that's why she changed it up.
Oh, you mean
I mean,
Burn Castle?
Castle.
Wait, didn't we just confirm that that's just Elder Rika?
No, they specifically said they aren't tied together. It's just the same character design and name.
Yeah, like again, I always share the image, but let me find it.
I always thought that was just Rika Ascended. Like she showed up in the last.
Different character.
Oh wait, I can't talk about that. Never mind.
Fucking hey, Rika. She likes to use Rika's like design. There's a design where, hey, look at this. I know it's a meme, but like straight up, hey, that's from Rose Gun Days, and that's a very similar design to Rika's, minus the obvious.
Well, anyway, so as I said, I think the reason she mixed it up is to try to keep Burn Castell interested and not bored. Essentially, it's completely different.
I'm gonna have to disagree with that. It feels like she was planning this meticulously from the start.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. She's probably to other people.
Yeah, but everyone's still alive, so what's the point? What's the goal?
Manipulating the situation to her advantage.
I assume that she's trying to restart. That she's messing with things in a different way in order to change. Well, it seems like now she is able to actually manifest in the world. I assume she couldn't do that before, and so she's tweaking settings. She's tweaking the butterfly effect. She's going to try things in a way that will convince Battler that that magic happened.
Doing a little trolling.
That way, or it could be that she existed the entire time and we only saw from a certain perspective last time.
Exactly.
Remember, this is taking place before what we would consider the main story of Umineko.
Sure.
Think of this as a longer game of chess. What we're seeing are probably the moves that are planning out to go into a giant gambit on part of Beatrice and or Kinzo.
Or maybe with another person.
I have to wonder now if the butterflies have anything to do with the butterfly effect.
No, I think that's just you.
Could be just symbolism.
Could also just be unrelated.
One thing I did notice at the very beginning of this chapter, George kind of has a red flag there. I can play with my girlfriend's emotions, and he's actually enjoying that. Maybe he's a little more like Ava than we first thought.
I kind of interpreted that as Ryukashi awkward dialogue.
I don't know, man.
He's the one who wrote Irie, so...
I don't know. George even took pleasure in the fact that he could play with her emotions.
So you think there's a darker side to George?
I'm gonna have to go ahead and call it ahead of time, so yeah, definitely saying that now.
What are you saying, Con?
That George may actually have a little bit of twinge of darkness to him.
Okay.
A little bit of Ava inside of George. Something else I've also found interesting. That magic dwells in the power of love. It's not often you actually see that and go ahead and get evoked so early inside of these things. Normally, it's one of those cheesy sidelines where they just say it's the magic of friendship that kept us all together. Insert pony joke here. But here it's literally just love being a basis of magic.
Unless she's lying.
Money. No, she's probably telling the truth, like the love of money or love of power or something.
Oh.
Exactly. Or, in some other person's case, the love of an individual. Mainly, Kinzo's love for Beatrice. Strong emotion becomes magical power. Strong desire can also lead to those results as well.
Yeah, I might have zoned out during this part, but whenever she was referring to that man, was she referring to Kinzo or a mysterious person?
Quite possibly.
She's obviously talking about that man from Guilty Gear.
Wait, quite possibly Kinzo or quite possibly a man? Because she was mentioning something about like a man discovering stuff regarding elements, but I might have also just zoned out during a portion of that.
I'm not sure.
Bless you.
Thank you. It was also interesting to go ahead and take a look in the past about this and see how George and Shannon actually did get a bit closer.
I'm kind of surprised that she was let out of the fucking island.
She's not a slave.
No, she's just a servant.
The way that she were like calling herself furniture is pretty slave-like.
That's
What's the difference between a slave and a servant if you don't get paid?
Oh God, are we really
They
gonna
do
have a
get paid,
discussion
actually.
between what is a slave and what is a servant?
Wait, they get paid?
They certainly
Yeah,
have
they
a
get
cult.
paid a ton of money.
They certainly like have a culty mindset about being a servant.
Oh my.
Actually, they have a
Then
high
why are
turnover
they
rate.
considered? Wait, if they get paid, then why are they considered low-class trash?
Because they're rich
Did you say
assholes.
low class trash?
Yeah, that's how they talk about themselves, like the way they treat themselves,
Yeah, they're
and the way
furniture
they're
and
treated by
shit, all
the parents.
All the asshole aunts
Because
treat
it's
them like shit.
classism.
Well,
Classism,
yes.
It's basically they're the It's basically they're the proletariat, and everybody else is the bourgeoisie.
Sure.
Huh?
I've been reading a lot of Marxist theory.
Oh boy.
What?
How is it?
Also, like,
Don't go
Does
full
he have good
commie,
ideas?
please.
Oh please, I know communism is only good in idealistic situations. Human error is way too vast for it to go ahead and be completed in real life.
When the communists cry.
So, back to your discussion about Umineko.
Okay,
Yeah.
look at that.
Anyway,
It's
going back
also
to that,
interesting
so
that the
actually-
mirror in the shrine is what's broken. If you remember back in episode 1, Natsuki actually said a little bit about how mirrors ward off demons.
hmm wasn't
It's
that shrine
almost-
destroyed?
No. Actually, yeah. Give me a second. I still have my handwritten notes, so I can easily go ahead and come back to where Natsuki's talking about that mirror.
I have to ask, how many pages are on those handwritten notes?
About 10.
Damn,
What?
Where'd you find those?
I'm impressed.
Hey, didn't that whole shrine get destroyed at a certain point? Because I remember they were talking about that before they
Pretty
even
sure it
entered
got
the
destroyed
island.
because of the mirror being broken.
Sorry.
What
Could have been
happened?
the
little
lightning
sleepy.
strike. Well, it could be a possibility.
You know, wow, I just want to go back to that. Like, I literally thought that, Kumisawa and, Shen and Ken and all those people, they were just literally essentially slaves. And, like, the kids were just like, that's fucking weird, but it's, like, what the family does, so whatever. But, like, they didn't know any better. Like, they thought that was normal. Like, I literally thought they owned slaves, essentially.
No, they don't. They have.
They're not slaves, but they're in this like weird culty mindset. Like I think they were raised in an orphanage to like have this mindset because it's like a very specific
pretty much.
orphanage.
But
Like,
not
it's-
a lot of servants stay there for a long time. There's usually a turnover rate of 3 years.
And did they say that in this?
Yes, they did. In one of the previous scenes, they basically tell them that servants usually just get replaced every so often because there's a turnover rate
Oh,
after a while.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, that's what the thing was.
They
that
did
they
say
worked
it
for a
back in
couple of
chapter
years.
1.
Yeah,
And Shannon's actually stayed on for about 6 years.
and that's
What the fuck is
abnormal.
Lunon?
We'll probably figure it out.
We'll get to that in just a moment. But I've got it right here. If you remember, Natsuki wanted to give Jessica a small handheld mirror that she had ever since she was a child. And they said that it was warding off spirits or showed other vulnerable spirits in the area. And charms like that aren't just kept at random, especially inside of a torii that's on the main part of a giant island like this. I mean, somebody had to place that mirror there with the knowledge it was keeping something out or holding something in.
Who exactly would do that? I don't think Kenzo would do that.
It doesn't exactly
Probably
matter
not
who
to
put it. It doesn't matter who put it there. It matters what they were keeping in and what they were keeping out. In this case, it could be that it was just warding off Beatrice or keeping her power at check.
There was a thing I thought of is that why would Kenzo have the scorpions on his door if he just wanted Beatrice to show up?
I know why.
He's magic, Jean, because he's magic savvy.
I know.
I mean, like he wanted. Yeah, wouldn't that mean that he would not want Beatrice?
I know exactly why.
Why?
So he doesn't get sacrificed.
I
I
mean,
was going to.
Sorry,
Sorry.
but like Maria already said that Kenzo doesn't care because he'll just get resurrected.
That's mostly different. If you'll remember, scorpions are also charms that go ahead and ward off any sort of magic. Who's to say that Beatrice can't go ahead and make a preemptive strike against Kenzo? Of course, her pride would go ahead and get in that way. But what if someone else were to go ahead and use points of magic just against him?
But yeah, like part of my thought was he trying to keep out other types of magic beings other than
Quite
Beatrice?
possibly, yes. Once you go ahead and delve into those kinds of black arts, you become very aware of how many ways people can harm you, even with something as simple as a small curse. So you take
paranoid.
you take any measure possible to keep yourself and others safe. The scorpions on the handles are probably just his way of a second-degree measure of keeping himself safe against any crazy magic.
I feel like we're probably gonna get those scorpions brought up again.
Of course. Even minute details from the first chapter are already being brought up again. You guys need to keep a mental note of this.
I try, but I have a bit of an issue with my brain.
Then
Yeah,
write it
we know
down.
that.
That's what I do.
I'm also trying to focus on the story as hard as I can.
Can't you do both?
No.
That's sad.
Yeah, ADD sucks.
Yeah, it's hard to having memory problems. That's the reason why I have good long-term memories.
Neither way. I will admit, though, the continued use of furniture is making me think that this is going to tackle some classist ideals. Speaking of classist, I think we can all agree, holy crap, Ava, what a bitch.
And
Yeah,
not
she
so.
is.
And I think we can also agree that Joshi would still go ahead and want to be stomped on by her.
I mean, I would too.
He's
Not to call you
Digital
out,
is
man,
vanilla.
but you-
He's not
no matter
into
how
that
classy
scene.
she gets, you would probably still simp hard for her, man.
Who, Beatrice?
Not so.
No, Ava.
Ava.
Have you looked at her?
See? He's
Whoa.
got. See, Joshi's got saying facts.
I mean, like,
But
I
yes,
wouldn't want to be stepped on her.
Well,
but-
I'm just with Digital.
Sorry,
I'm just saying.
I think that's just my brain actually spewing information before my mouth can my mouth spewing things before my brain can process it.
I'd be
You
fine
don't
with
know
it.
that even if she does get more harsh, dude, you're still gonna be all over it like Ava, like butter on toast.
Shit was. Oh yeah, I was gonna say. I put in the Discord chat after Natsui had her little shit fit with Shannon that both of these women would ask for the manager at Walmart.
Yes, they would.
You are not wrong on that, my friend. They are 100% those bitches.
Karens.
Also, since Ava is married to a guy who works at the restaurant, she's basically Ultra Karen.
Gaslighting Karen, more or less.
Oh yeah, can we talk about how they mentioned Okanogi so casually?
I mean, he's not an important character. It was just
I
a
wouldn't
fun
say
little
it's
reference.
important. It's probably just a one-off reference. Ow, my ear.
Could be possible.
I know his character design shows up again, but I honestly doubt that he's gonna be any important character.
Ow, my ear. Ugh.
Okay?
But she's having allergies.
Ow. No, it just started hurting all of a sudden.
Oh Jesus, I know what that feeling is.
Okay. Ugh. I also think it's just really super fucked up that Kraus was the one who was literally also just pegging down his wife and his daughter in that conversation with Ava and George. Purposely putting his wife down. Remember the pill bottle description conversation? He went along with it.
Yeah, he's
And
kind
then
of like
he
an ass at
purposely
that.
went along with it so that way he could also rag on his own daughter. Is there any family in here that's even absolutely considered healthy?
Not really, when you think about it.
I mean, Battler's family doesn't exactly seem terrible so far.
Why do you think he left his father in the first place after his mother
Ugh.
died?
Wait,
Healthy
Why
family
did he-
dynamic inside of a visual novel is all I ask for.
Battler lived
Doubt
with
I'm
his
gonna get it.
grandparents for a couple of years.
I'm having trouble figuring out what you said there, just Crimson. Why did he
Battler
leave his
left-
father?
Okay, Battler lived with his grandparents on his mom's side because of his father doing something heinous, especially after remarrying. So that's not a healthy relationship if you just left your father because of something weird like that as a child.
I mean, Battler
5
doesn't.
times out of 10, it's probably going to be because of his mom death, and the other 5, it's going to be because he went off with some other fuchsia-haired floozy.
It's just that it seems like they get along well enough. I think.
Also, Kaneko, Keiichi's family's pretty good.
Well, you're not talking about Higurashi.
Okay, you got me there.
Oh, you meant in visual novels in general.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just literally there. Also, he was totally right about Earl Grey. The bergamot inside of the tea actually does go ahead and give it a fruity and citrusy taste.
Damn it, I want some tea, but it's nighttime.
Highly recommend Earl Grey, but you might want to go with a good brand that doesn't have it all completely ground.
What's with Japan and Earl Grey? It's in so many things in different anime.
It's just a tea thing. Also, bit of a minor note, Jessica is the best fucking wingman for George at that point. And for Shannon. Can we agree with that?
Yep.
Also found it actually interesting and relatable that Kinzo still punishes Kraus and Ava the same way they were as kids. Goes to show, no matter how old you get, you are always your parent's child.
Yep. I can believe
And
that.
I, at this age, can confirm that. No. Orange, Joshy, you guys agree with that sentiment?
Wait, what?
Huh? What?
Huh?
No matter how old you get, you're always your parent's child.
I mean,
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, I guess.
Alright.
What do you mean, you guess?
It's probably not something he thinks about.
Probably something he doesn't want to think about.
My mom still treats me like a baby, so yeah.
Let's go.
I mean, my mom gives me the strength and independence, but it's always good to know I can actually rely on her for stuff.
Same thing with my mom.
She just sees my sisters and I still as her babies.
Same as mine.
I also found something interesting about this. Ava's family specifically came to borrow money from Kinzo at this point in time. What do you think they borrowed the money for?
You know that whole thing was a stock option, right?
That is true. But what if this doesn't have anything to do with the stock options?
Could be, but they were growing the business at the time.
They were. So then how far back exactly is this?
I would say like a good couple months. It has to be recent or somewhat during that time frame.
I want to say at least 4 to 6 months before October.
Exactly, somewhere around there.
I feel like
Does it
them
actually say
borrowing
what
money-
time it was at all?
No, they never did. And that's actually pretty interesting. I feel like this is going to come back at least for another point in time. Same with the talk about marriage. Of course they're wealthy, so of course Omiyai would naturally come first here. You marry for status, not for love. And you learn to love them as your time goes. It's the same with medieval romance. Unfortunately, which is creepy as balls.
I honestly don't even think they cared about love in medieval romance. I mean,
They
in
don't.
medieval times in general, I mean.
Normally,
That's
if you
kinda
did, it
true.
would be considered something sinful. I should know, I actually studied medieval romance and the monsters that represent them from medieval times back in college.
What do you mean? What kind of monsters?
Mostly werewolves, vamps, that kind of stuff.
Oh,
Medieval
werewolves, I
werewolves.
get it now.
Did you know that medieval werewolves are actually a representation of multiracialism?
Oh.
What?
Really?
What?
I thought it was more about
thought it was-
untold murders.
Hey, guys, we're talking about Umineko, remember?
Sorry.
I know.
Thought
I
I could
know.
go ahead and throw
But
that.
he's the
throw
one
that
who
one out
brought
there.
it up.
Like, we gotta keep things a little bit on
And
topic,
it
or I'm gonna
actually
call the
does kind of play
stream.
into this.
Does
And
it?
it does kind of. Yes, it does actually.
Can I say my bit about the werewolf?
Also, technically, we're talking about witches as well.
Can I say my bit about
Oh.
the werewolf?
Sergio said, say the thing.
Go for it.
I thought werewolves were an allegory for like drunk guys becoming assholes at night or something.
Apparently not. We should probably get back on topic, though.
Anyways, back to topic.
The reason I bring up medieval romance for this is it's the same situation. In fact, this whole situation started to sound more and more like a fairy tale.
And Beatrice's appearance and specific conjuring of a deal just cemented that for me. It feels a lot like The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Exactly. Young, underappreciated, full-brought girl wants to go ahead and be whisked away with her prince. However, he's about to meet the princess of his dreams, and she does not stand a chance. Literally, she might as well just be a fish floundering out there in the ocean. It's always gray to her. So, by the time she comes around and sees her prince is about to be married off, she's heartbroken. Cue the witch who gives her an all-too-sounding good-sounding deal. Break the mirror in the Tori and her wish will be granted. There has to be some sort of ball and chain for this.
I think I know what the ball and chain is.
Let's hear it.
We just saw it in episode 1.
Being?
How so?
Shannon
Being
getting
her-
clapped.
So you're saying that her sacrifice is basically what comes next?
Yeah, I mean, she technically was with George for that brief moment of time. It's just Beatrice being a jackass genie.
Okay, first, genies are way different than witches.
Well, I'm just using the trope name.
I know. I just get anal about it. And
Fair.
secondly, that actually is the way most wishes tend to go. They always turn into something else you weren't expecting.
Some kind of technical bullshit, some sort of technicality
Well, that
to
and
make
it's
it
also
technically right.
it's also more in the idea that this perpetuated the idea of equivalent exchange in magic.
Oh,
Which
I love Full Metal Alchemist.
it's magic, not alchemy. They're two different practices.
Say that, but this thing's all about gold.
Bruh.
And she also called herself an alchemist.
Okay, I can clarify this. Magic and alchemy are like water, and like oil and vinegar. They go together, but they don't mix.
They sure do taste great, though.
They sure taste good together, but they don't mix.
I didn't even know that they tasted good, but anyway.
Okay. Point being, you can't exactly go ahead and conjure something out of thin air. It has to go ahead and obey a law. Like, for instance, if you wanted to wish for $1,000, that money wouldn't just magically come into thin air. It would have to appear from something, or you'd have to have a set of circumstances just to get it. The same thing also happens if, like, you wish for a day off from work, or even something as minute as that. It's open to a lot of interpretation. Meaning...
Also, it's like, okay, you got a day off. Also, your wife got hit by a car, lol.
Exactly. Or you could have been diagnosed with cancer on that day. You could have stubbed your foot and almost burned your house down in the process. It's open to many interpretations, and for that, it's in a game of give and take. You can give something in... You can take a wish, but you always have to give something of equal value. Am I making sense to everybody so far?
Oh yeah, this is all stuff I already assumed.
Mm-hmm. Meaning that this is the same way that Beatrice and Kinzo's magics may actually work. There's the magic of miracles, and then there's the magic of equivalent exchange. This reminds me... I wanted to say, this also reminds me of Holic. Mostly Yuko. Anybody here seen Holic?
I've seen some of it, but I don't remember anything other than that lady really likes Chobits.
Susan.
It's by Clamp. It's from the same writers and group of writers as Chobits.
Yeah, but that lady always wears the ears. But anyway, go ahead.
I can actually explain that. That's also because they just had a thing with Clamp where all their universes would sort of just collide with one another. So that's a thing. And secondly, Yuko's wish shop runs on the same principle. Mostly that to obtain a wish, something of equal value had to be traded. Whether it just be a ring, a toy, or a child's booster seat, I can explain that one. That was about the internet, but not right now. It's that it always varies on that. And I prefer that sort of magic than just conjuring stuff out of thin air. That means whatever Kinzo wanted for the gold has to be of equal or greater value.
Like killing his whole family?
That could possibly be it.
But then there's the whole equivalent exchange thing where it's like, oh, nothing can possibly match the value of a human life.
Exactly. That's probably... And the creation of a contract would go ahead and ensure that she could keep her word, at least for that.
That thing Robot said has me interested. Do you think that maybe Kinzo also wished for more than just gold?
Possibly.
Because sacrificing an entire family, that's a lot of value.
It certainly is. He was
Is it really valuable if they're all assholes?
Think about this, though. He didn't ask to go ahead and destroy a family. Back when he made a deal and bargain with Beatrice, he asked for gold and the opportunity to restore the Ushirimiya family. That's a lot.
To restore the family by destroying it?
No,
Sorry.
One sec. I'm getting a drink
Sorry.
of water. In 1 second. If you'll recall, that's mostly Kinzo's epitaph. And that's a contract he actually made with Beatrice. Remember her letter?
Right.
He made a bargain with her, including a separate set of circumstances to counteract her bargain and her trade with him. Meaning, if he fulfilled his side of the bargain, then she could not just come willy-nilly in there. She actually got challenged by him, causing this riddle and this game.
It kind of activated it after a certain point, the second part of the clause of his contract.
Yep. It's basically it. You're right. It is a contract with a couple clauses in it. Makes it a little less than what Beatrice was doing to Shannon here. And actually, it makes what Beatrice and Shannon were doing less than what he's done with Kinzo has done with Beatrice.
Of course, she's vulnerable because, of the circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Magic deals and things like this always work on those who are the most vulnerable. It's true. These sorts of things are easy to go ahead and prey on whenever you're, I guess the right word is,
Vulnerable.
emotionally, vulnerable. And Shannon is completely vulnerable at this point.
Yeah, she had a bit of defense there. She showed a bit of resistance, but mostly not really much defense on her own.
Because when people are vulnerable and desperate, they'll take any measure possible to prove that they can do what they do and prove that they're right. Why do you think so many people turn to tarot cards when they're uncertain of their future? They want a concrete answer and something they can control. Mostly because they're vulnerable to whatever could possibly come next.
And to scam artists.
That also relies into vulnerability.
Fortune tellers are assholes.
No. Imagine if someone actually has the power to do that.
I will also go ahead and say, her line, "When love leads to madness, that is when you see the true face of humanity." Could she have possibly been talking about Kinzo?
Yes.
You think so?
In some ways.
Yeah, I guess that one's actually a no-brainer once you go ahead and think back on it.
Wait, what was the thing you
Go
said?
ahead and have him develop magic powers, and he did start drinking a lot of absinthe. Also, I have to commend Beatrice on this, and this may actually be something that we should have looked for back in the first chapter. Beatrice leaving the butterfly burn marks on their hands.
I mean, I don't know how we would know to look for that.
Well, it would explain their behavior. In the first chapter, they were acutely aware of Beatrice's existence. But with Shannon, she was more overtly for it. Cannon was more, as I said, detestable of it. This could be the reason why.
Anything else?
sorry. I believe that is all I have for right now.
I'm not really sure. Like you said, what we should keep a out for, but in episode 1, but I don't really know how we would have had the idea to look out for that.
Mostly in their behavior.
I mean, whenever you said look out for that, did you mean specifically the mark, or did you mean like something else?
Their behavior.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the mark.
No, she said that the mark would fade.
Oh, right. I
Like,
forgot.
Until so maybe something triggers it and they go, "Oh shit! Just remembered."
No. Plus, I'm still curious to see how that mirror is gonna play into this. It broke into 2 equal halves. But I also have to ask. Hey, Orange.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah.
The glass that keeps breaking in between certain scenes. That wouldn't happen to be related to Shannon breaking the glass from the mirror from the
can't tell.
toy, would it?
If
Can't tell you.
If I'm gonna be perfectly honest, I just thought the glass breaking was glass breaking to be dramatic.
It could also be just Shannon breaking the mirror.
I mean, it's a cool idea, but I
It
don't
looks
know
more
how
like,
real it is.
but it looks more like a bullet hitting the glass, like in Devil May Cry, than a thing breaking cleanly in half.
I don't know.
I
I wouldn't
honestly
focus.
thought that would have been cool as a little bit of a reference.
I wouldn't focus too much on that.
Meh, it was just a thought I had. Still, that's all I've got.
Yeah, I don't got nothing. Robot, you got anything else? Or yeah, Robot.
I've been mostly discussing what I thought with Khan. For the past
Oh, I think I accidentally skipped over Crimson.
Also, yeah, Khan actually answered most of my questions anyway.
Most of.
Yeah, pretty much, because those were my points on those things too. Especially the whole glass breaking and the other stuff.
Also, Joshi?
Yeah?
I wanted to apologize for the other comments before. Sorry about that.
Well, what do you mean?
What comment?
Like the Ava comments. I feel like I should apologize.
Oh no, he doesn't give a
Why are you
shit.
apologizing to me? Ava didn't say shit to Cannon!
No, I mean the comments I made about you liking Ava and everything.
No, I mean like she's being a bitch right now!
Like, it's funny. It's just jokes. It's no big deal. Nobody's like.
That's fine!
Everything's
Like,
fine.
I even said in the chat!
Look,
Yo,
Pete
that
Boy
bitch
Joshi
though,
wants
she's
to get
fine,
stepped on by
though.
Eva. It's fine.
I have a common joke with her. It's not now,
Sorry.
Ava. It's not the time, Ava.
It's a force of habit for me to apologize when I think I've hurt somebody.
No, you're totally
That's
fine.
okay. As
You
an
didn't have
idiot,
to at
I
all.
can identify with that pain.
It's
I'm
totally
actually
fine.
keeping a bit quiet because I'm scrolling through spoiler Umineko Twitter.
Oh, okay.
We here in the higher echelon, we're just kind of reacting to what you're saying very quietly.
Echelon.
Yeah, the people that know the spoilers.
The Fight Club.
The inner circle.
Okay. But yeah, I think that's all I've got for this time around.
Alright.
We good?
I
Yeah,
think
we're pretty
so.
good.
Anyone else have any other thoughts?
Robot, you got anything?
I didn't even think about the glass breaking possibly being Shannon.
I would need to look at it again, but like it said it was a clean break, meaning that it wouldn't have been shattered or something.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said because it looks more like Devil May Cry mission ending screen.
Not really.
How did Shannon break it again? Did she like break it over her knee? What happened?
The rock.
Oh, she hit it against the rock? That doesn't sound like it'd make a clean hit.
Thought she threw it on the ground.
Oh no, I don't got anything.
Alright, well, if that's the case, then we're going to wrap up the stream. Thank you all very much for watching again. Hopefully, we'll see you all on Monday this time, and there won't be any hang-ups or anything like that.
No, unfortunate.
I'm so sorry about this week, guys.
Oh, don't worry about
Totally
it.
fine. Alright.
Life is important.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Have a
night.
good one.
Good night.